We're back. Welcome to another week of Good Morning Pop Culture, the show that helps you get through the work week as easy as a bottle of Jack Daniels. It's Tuesday, August 8th, 2018. And we have a lot to talk about this morning. So while everyone files in, good morning. We do anything fun this weekend? Me? I bought a shirt. Hooray for no taxes. One thing I did do was watch the 1997 classic Con Air. Well, classic's a bit of a stretch, but that cast is stacked. It makes me appreciate the power that is Nicolas Cage's acting presence. Yeah, maybe sometime we'll do some Nicolas Cage movies here on the channel. What should we watch this weekend? I'm open to suggestions. Maybe we watch the prequels. Maybe Mr. Ed. Speaking of Mr. Ed, that box set arrived from China. So let me pull that up for you right now. And there you have Mr. Ed on DVD, brought to you by the wonderful fans of World Class Bullshitters for the one, the only Dion Green. And I'll be giving that to Dion in Indianapolis at Horror Hound. So on the weekend of the 24th through the 26th, make sure you're not doing anything else. We're going to be going live from the show quite a bit. We don't know the exact times yet, but we're going to play it by ear. We'll try to get some celebrities on the show, some other YouTube channels. It's going to be a lot of fun that weekend. So watch everything we do. Now, speaking of the show, let's get on with this one. So let's see who we have here this early. Good morning to everyone. There's a lot of people here already. It means we get to start our main feature relatively early. Wow, all the way from Stockholm. That's awesome. Hello to Grant Smith Base. Con Air is loved by Jason Voorhees 67. The super chat's busted. I do not know about that. I hope that is not the case. Either way, we're going to have a show no matter what. What's my favorite YouTube channel besides this one? Ooh, that's a good question. I do like the Oliver Harper channel. Retro Blastin' is a great show, or great channel. I'm trying to think of the ones I've watched for the longest time. Talk about Star Trek. You mean the news and rumors that Jean-Luc Picard is coming back in his own series? I'll have to look up some news, but I can talk about that. You actually might want to wait for World Class Bullshitters this weekend because Dion is the expert on Star Trek. He loves it. Yeah, Oliver Harper is awesome. Sentinel, I'll be talking about both of those this morning. Like I said, we have a lot to cover. So we're almost there. We're 34 people, 32 people away. The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, thank you for your super chat. Working for me. Well, thank you, the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey. I appreciate that. And I'm glad to know that it works. Mauler is a good channel. Mauler is a good channel. By the way, I'm glad you brought Mauler up, Rugis. Next Monday, the 13th of August, I don't have an exact time yet, but I have Mauler and I have the Dishonored Wolf appearing here on World Class Bullshitters. It'll probably be in the afternoon for the U.S. listeners because Mauler's in the U.K. and we don't want to try to make them stay up late on a Monday night. But I will be giving you guys plenty of notice to when we're going live with those two. But I have them both locked down for the 13th of August. We're excited to talk about everything. The Dishonored Wolf has his fantastic Star Wars video. We have tons and tons to cover. So make sure you have your questions and make sure that you're available. You don't want to miss the live version of that. Here we are. Oh, we are 3 away from 200 viewers before we can start the show. Have I ever done a horse prank on Dion's birthday? I haven't spent a birthday with Dion in a long time. Dion's birthday is in November. Funnily enough, it's the day after Phil's or before. I never get that right. Point is, usually in college, we would drink, but since then, I haven't seen him in November. All right, so here we are. We're at 200 viewers, guys. So let's get this Mr. Ed bullshit off the screen and start talking about the Star Wars live action series. But here we are. This comes from The Verge. Good morning to everybody, including Midnight Cherry TV. So here we are with The Verge, and this is what we're going to talk about. And then we are going to talk about that classic Star Wars series. So if anyone gets confused, we're talking about both right now. So Disney's live-action Star Wars show might cost upwards of $100 million for 10 episodes. Quality is going to be critical. Details on Disney's forthcoming streaming platform are thin. We know it'll have Star Wars and Marvel films and shows, although it appears that the original films won't be exclusive to the service. It's expected to launch in 2019, and it'll be substantially cheaper than Netflix. A New York Times profile of the executive in charge of the platform sheds a bit more light, hinting that the company will put some more incredible resources into its productions. Former film marketing chief Ricky Strauss will lead the service as its president of content and marketing. He has long overseen Disney's larger marketing efforts, promoting movies like Black Panther and The Force Awakens. The profile also highlights the upcoming live-action Star Wars television show as an example. Written by Jon Favreau, who directed the Iron Man 1 and 2, and appeared in Solo Star Wars Story, the Times says that the show is expected to cost around $100 million for 10 episodes. Favreau says that the new streaming service affords a wonderful opportunity to tell stories that stretch out over multiple chapters. In addition to Favreau's show, Times notes that Disney has at least 9 movies in production or advanced development with budgets in the $20 to $60 million range, including live-action adaptations of The Lady and the Tramp and The Sword and the Stone, which will be helmed by 28 Weeks Later director Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. The service will include a revival of the Clone Wars animated show, which we've covered here on the channel, and it might also include a reboot of The Muppets? No. The profile also highlights that Disney will emphasize its existing library of content with its animated films, and at least 5,000 episodes of old Disney-branded television shows will anchor the service. In the interview, Strauss noted that the quality is going to be critical for the service, which will have to compete with companies like Amazon, Netflix, and Apple, all of which are spending billions to produce new content in their further subsidiaries. For their subscribers. I have had no coffee yet. $100 million budget for a live-action Star Wars show isn't quite in the same ballpark as many live-action films, but it's significantly more than your typical television drama, putting it in the ballpark as other prestigious shows like HBO's Game of Thrones or Netflix's Altered Carbon. So as I took my first ride on the struggle bus this morning, let's talk about this a little deeper. So interestingly enough, they talk about how it won't be exclusive, the Star Wars trilogies won't be exclusive to this service. Well, according to Turner, who owns the rights, they're not selling it back yet. See, the Disney streaming service seems like a good idea on paper, but the Star Wars situation just goes to show you how recent they've pushed forward with this idea. Because they made those TV deals for Star Wars in 2016. And I know 2016 seems like a millennia here on social media, but in the real world, 2016 was just like a blink ago. So they didn't have the plans in 2016. It goes to show you that Disney's greed actually outweighs its foresight into what they're going to do. Also notes that it'll be substantially cheaper than Netflix. Now that's going to be incredibly interesting because I think Netflix is $9 a month for the basic streaming package. I pay $12 because I share it with someone else. The Disney streaming service, substantially cheaper. So does that mean half? If it's $4 a month for that Disney streaming service, a lot of people are going to bite on that one. Now, are they going to raise the price? That might be the game plan, but that way you might lose a lot of people too. But this new Star Wars show is meant to take place between the Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, which is an interesting enough time period, and you have Jon Favreau at the helm, but do you think it's going to be enough? This isn't the first time we've actually talked about Star Wars shows on TV. Midnight Cherry popped in with a super chat. I want to see Han telling Chewie he's money for 1 hour. That's what you want to see on TV? You want to see Han telling Chewie he's money for 1 hour. Okay, Midnight Cherry TV. Cesaria Japan. Super Chat has broken past $5 for me. Huh. Well, shit. I hope it's nothing to do with Google attacking us, because we haven't done anything. But either way, thank you, Cesaria Japan. I appreciate it. So $100 million for 10 episodes. Yeah, a lot of people aren't buying that. As I said, this isn't the first time that Star Wars has Oh, wow. Thank you, Chortle Games, for your very generous super chat. I never skip the ads on your videos in order to pitch in. I'm glad you're live streaming now. Remember the days when it was all recorded. The show is now raw and uncut. Keep up the world-class content. Thank you, Chortle Games. I will always keep up the world-class content, and I appreciate that you've been with us for so long, and I appreciate that you're now with us with the live streams. I really do enjoy this. I get up early, but I'm excited. It's like, all right, time for the show, and then I get all the notes and my lists ready and stuff. We have a lot of fun planned for this morning, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But back to this $100 million for 10 episodes thing. I was thinking to myself, what else could you get for $100 million here in the real world? So just for the hell of it, I thought I'd play a little game with you guys before we get into the other Star Wars thing. So for $100 million, you could buy about maybe 100 of these things, which is that a Lamborghini? Is that a Ferrari? That's a Lamborghini. So you could buy 100 of those, a fleet of Lamborghinis, or you could buy 100 homes like this, maybe 50. This might be a $2 million home, depending on where you live. Around me, this would probably cost $1 million. And then you could also buy world-class bullshitters for $100 million, but we wouldn't change our tune. But what I've been trying to get at is this. Star Wars Underworld, which was originally planned to be a Star Wars television series way back in 2005. Now let me read about this a little more to you guys. So this comes from George Lucas directly, and this is on Wikipedia. Now this isn't some rumor. This was a big deal back in the day. I remember being in college, 2008, right around when Clone Wars was coming out. And my friend Garrett from Chicago, which Garrett might join us for Star Wars Celebration because he lives in Chicago. And if he does, I'll interview him on the channel. He's a lot of fun. Longtime Star Wars fan. A little boring, but you guys can, probe him and ask weird questions. He might answer them. He has a love for a man named Matt Grover. But back to this. It sits on the shelf. We have 50 hours. We're trying to figure out a different way of making movies. We're looking for a different technology that we can use that will make it economically feasible to shoot the show. Right now, it looks like the Star Wars features. Right now, it looks like the Star Wars features. But we have to figure out how to make wow, I am really off this morning. Excuse me. But we have to figure out how to make it for about 1/10 of the cost of the features because it's television. We're working towards that, and we continue to work towards that. We will get there at some point. It's just very difficult to process. Obviously, when we do figure it out, it will dramatically affect the features because feature films are costing between $250 to $300 million. When we figure this out, we'll be able to make a feature film for about $50 million. That says George Lucas. So says George Lucas. Now, this was supposed to be in the vein of like that Star Wars 1313 game. I remember IGN used to put up articles all the time about the Star Wars TV show. Boba Fett, then Rick McCallum would be interviewed and all kinds of stuff. Like this was a big deal. This was George Lucas's next step in the process of keeping Star Wars alive. And I was all for it because George Lucas's television show was supposed to take place between episode 3 and A New Hope. And it was first announced at Series Celebration 3. And over the next few years, a variety of writers were hired, over 50 scripts were written, and artwork was designed. And then in 2010, Lucas announced that the series was on hold due to budget constraints. So in 8 years, we've reached the point that Lucas was talking about, essentially. Now, was he talking about $50 million per episode, or was he talking about $50 million per season? Because as it sits now, $100 million for a season for 10 episodes, so $10 million an episode, doesn't seem that crazy. But with George Lucas, it was going to be pretty much a spectacle in every episode. You weren't going to have boring shit. Say what you will about the prequels, say what you will about everything in those movies, at least they had memorable action moments that were unlike anything you'd ever seen in previous Star Wars flicks. Episode 1, you had the pod race, you had the lightsaber duel, and even if you liked the space battle was very bland but okay. My point is you had 3 good to great action scenes. Attack of the Clones, you had the chase through Coruscant, you had the battle through the asteroid field, and you had the lightsaber duel / battle of Geonosis, which were cool. And then in episode 3, you had the opening scene, which was incredible. And then you had the lightsaber duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan. And you had the other lightsaber duels between Yoda and Sidious and all that shit. There were awesome action moments in those movies. And with George Lucas at the helm of the TV show, I bet we would have got something similar each episode. I'm not saying you would have had a 20-minute lightsaber duel per each episode, because that would have been boring as shit. But you probably would have had a cool chase, a lightsaber duel. You would have split it up one per episode. With this new Disney stuff and the way Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead and stuff is produced now, you're going to get Star Wars in that vein. Remember, folks, when Disney's in charge of Star Wars, it's not necessarily Star Wars as its own unique identity. It's taking what works and molding Star Wars to fit that. So expect a lot of Walking Dead style, pointless, bland episodes, and then you get the finale at the end. So let's hear what some of you guys have to say about this. Let's see, where we at? Lots of Muff. By the way, shout out to Holdo's Muff. Joined our Patreon page. I guess because he's now part of the show. Honey to Sarkeesian with $25 million. Here we are. Let's see. Force Unleashed 3. David Cook. Morning, Jeff. At this point, I could care less about the TV show. This new canon sucks moist fudge. I'll stick to my Legends canon. This is for your coffee. Thank you, David Cook. That was a very generous super chat. I need it. The messed up part is, so I got this Keurig, and I had a new set of cups. And normally I drink out of these, what's the brand? These like Dixie styrofoam cups. And then I use the Dixie paper cup. So I made the coffee, and the paper cup came from the factory with crap in the bottom. So I went to drink this cup of coffee, and there were these floating pieces of old paper. And I was like, no. So then I was like, I got to make new coffee, and it's just thrown me off emotionally. This whole show is just shot. I should just go back to bed. But I won't, because I'm fucking with you guys. If Lucas was in control, I would have cared more. Yeah, I would have cared more too, because Lucas would have cared more. I'm not all of a sudden looking back thinking, man, the grass was greener type of thing, because there was bad Star Wars, but there was a lot more good Star Wars. We're all excited for this Clone Wars thing. Remember, that was created under him and Dave Filoni, and what's coming back is the old shit that was created for him. And this show just, it seemed more exciting. It seemed to be in the vein of Star Wars because it was created by the guy that, invented Star Wars with a couple other people. And let's see what else they had to say about it. We'll look at some of the cast and characters here. The series was expected to feature minor characters with cameos by some of the main characters like the Emperor and Darth Vader. That would have been cool to have Darth Vader show up. See, that's one nice thing about Darth Vader too. Anybody with the right build can play him, and then you could get James Earl Jones to come in for an afternoon and record a season's worth of dialogue or 10 seasons worth of dialogue, because Lucas had 50 scripts. Now, were those 100% completed? Let's hope so. There were 100 episodes planned, 400 proposed. Holy shit, man. Say what you will, the dude had the foresight for a lot of shit. A lot of content, excuse me. It sounds kind of exciting when you look back on the old stuff. It's like, man, we could have had 400 episodes of a Star Wars TV show. And how long would that have been? Clone Wars has what, 100 maybe? Man, that show would have still been going on to this day. And if it was good, man, we'd all be, if this show would have made it, there would have been no sale to Disney. Lucas would have been doing this, and then Star Wars would have lived on through these stories. No more movies, just stuff in between, the space in between space. And I would have been fine with that. I think a lot of you out there would have been fine with that. We could have had new characters. We could have had the little characters that pop up in the books get, full fleshed out arcs, creating new fans for small characters. It doesn't have to be about Han, Luke, and Leia. It could have been about, like it says here, Quinlan Vos, that guy that was in episode 1 for like a moment, or any of your favorite Jedi that could have survived the purge of Order 66, stuff like that. You could have had a lot of interesting things take place. Remnants of clones, formation of the Empire. The story of Rogue One could have been done in 3 episodes instead of the 2-hour and change movie that we got now. And it probably would have been better, because I'm not all of a sudden changing my tune to Rogue One. I think it's okay. But you wouldn't have had to rush, and you wouldn't have had to have the boring subplot of Jyn Erso's father and whoever Forrest Whitaker played and that mind worm shit. There were dumb moments of that movie. The battle of, not Crate, whatever the planet's called, let me know in the chat. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I keep wanting to say Geonosis, but it's not. But that battle and then the end part was the best part of the movie. And that's how you could have ended the Star Wars show. You could have ended it with Darth Vader arriving on the Tantive 4, and then it could have been like, that's a story for another time or some other horse shit. And there we go. That could have been the Star Wars television series. So let's get back to some of the chat. Mareth Dialine, thank you very much for your super chat. Did you ever get the chance to talk to your friends who used to work at Disney Park and have him share his stories? Mareth Dialine, that is a good thing to ask me, because that's just a reminder. His name's Spencer. I'll just shoot him a message. He is now a DJ. Write that down. What we'll do is I'll ask him, and then we'll get him on the show, and we'll talk about it. I'll try to get him on at night. Maybe I'll interview him on a Wednesday or something. It depends on what we're going to do. But yeah, I do want to ask him. He's a smart guy. He's a funny guy. He'll have tons of stories to tell. He worked there for 1 or 2 summers. I'll make sure he tells the stories about the park instead of the stories like, oh, there was the girl from London who had to wear 2 bras type of thing. So thank you, Mareth Dealing. I'll definitely remember to ask him now. The Pui. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, the Pui, and thank you. Chortle Games, again, thank you very, very much. In a red carpet interview, George Lucas said he wanted to focus on private projects that no one would see, aside from friends and family. What if those projects were actually new movies that he ghost wrote? Thoughts? Ooh. That's kind of interesting, the way he operates. I think one thing about George Lucas is, in his mind, he doesn't present himself the way he thinks himself in his mind, if I can say that right. He's not good in public. He's better in private. I think that the shit he would have put out there could have been awesome, but he just, the public sees him a certain way, and he has to fit this George Lucas mold. So he, I guess, escaped to go back inside and do things his way. I mean, if we go back and listen to the Star Wars Empire of Dreams documentary, and you talk about how George Lucas truly was, he was this introverted guy who couldn't handle jokes. I mean, he had almost a heart attack on the set of the first movie because of the stress, and he didn't talk to anybody about stuff. Like Carrie Fisher says, George didn't talk in those days. And by the time you're 20, what is George Lucas, almost 30 in 1977, he's already the person he is going to be for the rest of his life. So maybe he had these crazy ideas that he couldn't put out there for fear of being, ostracized. Even though he's George Lucas, he's still George Lucas, and we have to think of it like that. But that would be incredible if the ghost projects were just like his own Star Wars movies that are never going to get seen publicly. And oh my God, if I ever found out that was the thing, I wouldn't kill, but I'd kill to see those movies. Because with the kind of money he has, he could hire, like for me, if I had George Lucas money, I would commission private episodes of Batman, the animated series. I just straight up would. I would hire everyone back, with the exception of Shirley Walker, because she's no longer with us. And I would have private episodes of the show, and you could do that. It'd be crazy if George Lucas had those types of things, that those were his ghost projects, or his hidden projects that he ghost wrote. And I would want to become a family member just to see those things. That would be incredible. Man, now you got me. See, that's one thing I love about this show and hate, because somebody will present something like this, and then I want to sit and think about it for a while. This is probably something I'm going to think about when we're off air today. Maybe we'll talk about it more on the High Council tonight. But kind of like one of those mind blowers, like, boom, oh shit, what if that is the case? See, the greatest thing about Lucas and the Star Wars universe was the what if. What if this happened? What if that happened? And people jokingly talk about all these alternate realities that we live in. What if we lived in a world where Lucas didn't sell, the TV show was the thing that we're talking about, the Underworld show, and those hidden projects was the next Star Wars trilogy, or this or that? We would be in a much different position than we're currently in. Hell, this channel probably wouldn't exist, because episode 7 wouldn't have been a thing, and I wouldn't have been pissed off about that. So I guess I should be thankful. But at the same time, you want to know. You got to know. As a fan of Star Wars, as a fan of movies, you just got to know what could be out there. And I would love to have the opportunity to read those scripts, all 100 of them, and know what Lucas is working on. Damn it, Chortle Games. I'm sorry. Now I'm thinking, guys. I apologize. Thank you, Chortle Games. By the way, it's the Battle of Scarif. Thank you to everyone who reminded me. I forgot. Reed Palancha, thank you very much. I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Thomas A. Edison. Maybe Disney is looking to break the ceiling. Still hope for the best, though. Yes, still hope for the best. With their streaming service being incredibly cheap, I wonder if their approach is just to get as many people to subscribe because, hey, it's only $5 a month type of thing. And you're like, wow, for $5, I can watch DuckTales and Darkwing Duck and this and that. Eventually, the allure will wear off if that's the low price, the low entry barrier. So they'll raise the bar. Maybe they're going to make it cheap, and then there are different tiers within it. So it's like $5, you get all this shit. Get it for your kids. And then, $15 a month, it's like, we'll get the exclusive new content like the Star Wars show and this Marvel show and this and that. Maybe that's their plan after all. We don't know yet, but it is Disney. And Disney is just as nefarious as Lucasfilm, except Disney is more secretive about that. They don't put their shit out in the open like Lucasfilm does. Rian Johnson and all those people are very open on Twitter about how they feel about the people. Disney has a grand scheme in mind, and they know they're like Palpatine. They're putting their pieces in the right order, and then they're going to make their move when everything's right. Or maybe they're just a really greedy company trying to cash in on this streaming service thing because, like I said earlier, Star Wars wasn't planned out. If they had this grand scheme of streaming platforms for all these years, why the hell would they sell off the not distribution rights, the TV rights and the broadcast rights for Star Wars to Turner for 8 years? Ask yourself that question. That little nugget goes to show you the thought process inside of Disney. Now, do we need to make them suffer for that? I don't know. That is your decision to not subscribe or to subscribe to their streaming service. All I can say is the truth is more important to me than PR spin. So don't spin me some bullshit. Spin me the truth. And maybe I'll give you a pass. You can get sandwiches for $5. I agree. Oh, see you later, John Hoy. Thank you for listening. Hello, Scott from Geekstream. They don't have a coherent plan. If they did, we'd have more integrated storytelling. 100% right, Jeremy. Speaking of Jeremy's, did you guys see that Jeremy Bullock, the man who played Boba Fett, has officially retired from conventions and is now going to lead a public life or a private life? Good for him. He's an old guy. He's been around the world. People have had a chance to meet him. Much like Stan Lee has stopped doing his live signings. He's only doing private ones now. So let Stan Lee retire in peace. I think enough people understand that Stan Lee is old, and he's a person too. We look at him as the face of Marvel, but we need to remember him as Stanley Lieber, a real person who was co-creator on a lot of great things, but needs his time just like the rest of us. Man, it's 9 p.m. in Japan, and you're listening all the way in Japan. Thank you very much. John Doe, I appreciate that. Is Stan Lee still being abused? I don't know. I don't have any kind of insider information in the comic book world outside of Ethan Van Sciver. I don't know Stan Lee or Rob Liefeld or anyone that's out there. So I can't discuss the topic with any form of credibility. I usually just talk about stuff that I can talk about. So we can hope that Stan Lee is not being abused and that Stan Lee can just go off in peace and enjoy the rest of his life. We don't know how long it's going to be. Benobi, you met Jeremy Bullock. Cool. I've always wanted to meet some Star Wars people, but I never have had the chance. I had a chance to meet Richard Kiel, but I didn't. They're throwing shit at the walls to see what sticks. Yes, that is the plan. We can talk about this more later in the week. We can talk about it now after Jason Voorhees. Jonathan Kasdan's Indy 5 will be titled Indiana Jones, and then nope, fuck you, George. You can't play with us anymore. Thank you, Voorhees67. I appreciate your super chat. Hope you took away your thumbs down because I'm now here, live on the air. By the way, shout out to everyone that's here live on the air. We have a great turnout for this early on a Tuesday. 430 people are listening, so hello to all 430 of you. I appreciate you spending your morning with Good Morning Pop Culture. And I'll be here every day till Friday to keep you guys entertained on your way to work. Yeah, Jonathan Kasdan's Indy 5. I don't think it's going to get made. I really don't. Harrison Ford will be busy doing other projects. Maybe an independent project, if you know what I mean. But Harrison Ford is old. He's too old to play Indiana Jones. Steven Spielberg is off doing other things. He can make his War Horse or his Lincoln or all those other movies that he wants to make, or Ready Player One, which I like. Yeah, whatever. But I don't think Jonathan Kasdan on Indy 5 is going to be a thing, because we saw Solo, or let me rephrase that. We all didn't see Solo. Most people didn't see Solo. And Indiana Jones 4 was really, really bad. And they think that the 10-year gap from then and now, or back then and now, has made a difference. No, people still look back at Indiana Jones 4 as a dumpster fire, the beginning of the end for these classic properties. The prequels finished strong. They started weak, but they finished strong. Indiana Jones, Disney, Star Wars, and now we're here. So I don't see that one happening where he's 67. Chortle Games, thank you again very much. I thought in 8 they had something. Rey and Kylo Ben would switch as protagonist and antagonist by episode 9. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Disappointment. That could have been a way to redeem episode 7 and 8 if they would have switched roles and Rey would have become the villain. But because of Disney and Kathleen Kennedy's agenda and all that stuff, you know it's not going to happen. Kathleen Kennedy has a plan, and they're going to stick with it. The funny thing is they have an agenda plan that they're sticking with, but they don't have a story arc that they're sticking with. And that's hurting Star Wars as it is right now. We're reusing footage. We're doing this. We're going back here. I'm fixing this. I'm doing that. Rian Johnson's not paying attention to what's here before that. Guys, look at the new Star Wars trilogy will be remembered as one of the worst ideas ever. No one wanted it. No one needed it, and they executed it poorly. Now, if no one wanted it and no one needed it, but it was executed well, then I could understand people looking at this thing going, oh, they revived Star Wars and Star Wars is back forever type of thing. I could see the excitement. I could see the hype. I could feel the excitement. But I don't, because I know what their thought process was and how lazy. I mean, like I've said before, they sold episode 7 to you by saying real sets, practical effects. Guys, this is the exact lens that they shot with in 1976. It's like, okay, JJ, I get it. Now tell me the plot. I don't have the plot. You'll have to watch the next one. Well, your mystery box is empty, dude, because Rian Johnson opened it up and there was nothing there. And now you're going to try to scrape up that little bit of nothing, put it into another mystery box, and sell it to us next December. Well, I can tell you that a couple million people aren't going to be buying that mystery box bullshit anymore. Their cards have been shown. They're a bunch of assholes. They don't have anything planned out in the future. And when you call them out on their creatively bad decisions, guess what? We're now all these terrible things. So episode 8 could have had something interesting to hook you, but because Rian Johnson's such a snarky douchebag, his hook was thrown out the window to subvert our expectations. Next time, Ryan, subvert my expectations and make something good and coherent. I can take out all my political complaints about episode 8, and I can still rip the movie apart on technical gaffes, storytelling issues, logical fallacies, all kinds of things out there. There are a ton of problems with that movie, and their lack of foresight. It's like this. It's like they're sitting down, they're counting their money, like, oh man, we're gonna make $3 billion from the next one. You made 1.3. Well, then we're gonna make $3 billion because it's the finale. The second one always makes less. Nope, not the case. It's frustrating to see what they're doing right now. It's frustrating that this is the world we live in with Star Wars. Cesare Japan, thank you for your super chat. No to any indie movie involving Shia LaBeouf. Okay, Shia LaBeouf. That's his new name. I don't like Shia LaBeouf as an actor or an artist, but that song about him made me like him a little more because he's in the video. But I agree, Shia LaBeouf, Mutt Williams, is a stupid character. You can go to your local vintage toy stores and you can find all those Mutt Williams figures for like $1 to 50 cents. That's it. The character's not cool. The character didn't work. Indiana Jones was the main event, and we weren't given the Indiana Jones we all wanted. I don't understand why Hollywood has this idea, like, we got to show the next generation and we got to build it up. I mean, I get that they're trying to build up the franchise forever by getting a younger star in there, but something like Indiana Jones or Star Wars, those two properties, they're so intrinsically linked to the actor that plays them. Harrison Ford is both Indiana Jones and Han Solo. No one else really can play them. We've seen Alden Ehrenreich try and fail miserably. We go to see Harrison Ford do his stuff. when you go to see Indiana Jones 4 and he is basically his father, he's stuffy, he's boring, the action's not there, you leave disappointed. Say what you will about Die Hard 4, and I've used this example in the past, but at least with Die Hard 4, you got to see McClane one more time do something cool before they completely shit the bed in Part 5. Indiana Jones didn't get that. So I say no to Indiana Jones anything else. I really think the perfect ending was Last Crusade. He literally rode off into the sunset. Why do anything else? You don't need anything else. I mean, press F if you guys... No, excuse me, press Muff if you think the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade ending was perfect the way it was. Let's see. Thank you to everyone who's wishing me morning. Thank you again. Moret Dialine, heading to work. We'll catch up with the rest of the show later today. Also, did you get my email the other day? I'm a little behind on emails, Moret Dialine, so thank you for your patience. I will be checking those out after the show. Over the weekend, like I said, bought a shirt, went out, took my mom out, and then she did, bought stuff. I actually bought somebody a Christmas gift really early, so that's kind of funny. Can't say who it is on air because they might be listening. But I did that, and then I watched Con Air and kind of took it easy, and then we had a stream last night, and I took my grandma to the doctor yesterday. So I haven't really had much time to do behind-the-scenes channel work, but I'm going to be catching up on that today, making up for it, because now we're at the, this is my Monday, and I'm ready to get to work. So thank you, Mareth Dialine. I appreciate it for all your support that you give us, and I hope to catch you back later on the live streams. Okay, lots of Muff. Shaven Muff, it's the Muff. Holdo's Muff, thank you so much for basically hijacking world-class bullshitters. I appreciate you. Billy Ritchie, thank you very much for your super chat. Did you ever read the Star Wars and Indiana Jones crossover comic where Indy found Han's ship and Chewie thought he was Bigfoot? Or Chewie thought he was Bigfoot? Yes, I have read that comic quite a few times. That was something that you would see pop up on the internet, and I was like, is this fan-made? Is this fake? And then through Wikipedia and all that stuff. You know what? I'm going to pull that up. You guys want to see that? I can't show you the whole comic book, but I can show you the Wikipedia page about that. So give me a second to do that. By the way, let me read this super chat from Chortle Games. Sorry for being a whale. Last one. Snoke could still be Darth Plagueis. Could add tension between Kylo and Snoke in 9 because of the betrayal. Chortle Games, I appreciate all you've done, so thank you. And my phone's not on silent, so I apologize for that. But Snoke could still be Darth Plagueis. If that's the case, I think it would be hard enough for people to care because you have people actively on the internet antagonizing fans. You're just mad because your Snoke theory didn't take place or didn't come true. Okay, well, I don't have a Snoke theory. I'm not angry about that. I think Disney knows that they dropped the ball with Snoke, and the mystery that JJ built up that could have actually been something had no payoff, because that was the point of Rian Johnson's movie. Life has no payoff. There's things that are built up and just nothing comes of it, and that was the plan with him in that movie. So I think that Kylo versus Snoke / Darth Plagueis could have been something if they would have worked it out properly. Like, remember how it's implied that Palpatine is Plagueis, right? Darth Plagueis the Wise, he killed his master and stuff and create life. That would be an interesting thing, but it's too late now. They would have to have left a little string to keep you along in The Last Jedi for that. They just cut him in half and destroyed the ship, and it's over. He's just a half body. It's not like the hand twitched or moved or used the Force or something like crazy like that. If that was the case, then I can see that theory happening. But as of now, I think their smartest move, and I think they know this too, is to just move past Snoke theories and move past all of that, and they're going to try to just close this thing out as cleanly as possible and give you a very Return of the Jedi-like ending. It's going to be interesting, Chortle Games, for everyone out there that complains about Return of the Jedi having this boring, safe ending. Wait till you watch the ending to Episode 9, because with the internet, they want everyone to forget. They think we have the attention span of goldfish. They want us to all forget what came before. So they're going to do the most boring, safe, clean ending for Episode 9 you can possibly imagine. You think Yub Nub was bad? Wait till you see what they do with this one. Cesare Japan, thank you very much. Wonder what a reboot of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicle TV show would be in 2018. Indy overshadowed by a female adventure or every 3 episodes. Yeah, that probably would be the case, Cesare Japan, that you would have a woman character come in and be like, oh, Indiana Jones, you're this, you're that. You see, in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Elsa Schneider came in. She was a doctor and tried to do her thing. But Indy knew the most. He was the main character. I think when your character is the main character, they should be the focal point. And then it was revealed that she was a bad guy and all this shit. And then it got interesting. 2000, you can't make anything historical in 2018 because the people that make entertainment will want to, distort history and be like, well, that wasn't really nice or, nice back in the day. Well, guess what? That's how it was back in the day. And you have to present that in the case. You can't alter the past because of your feelings. That's, terrible things happened in the past and those were the norm. Deal with it, guys. Sorry. We've evolved as a people, as a race. Good for us. Now we have to just remember the past and not make those mistakes again. So yes, Cesare Japan, a young Indiana Jones Chronicle would be overshadowed, and he would also be in a fake alternate history of things that never happened. Who else we had pop up here? The Cobra Viper, thank you very much again. New rule, any franchise JJ touches will be considered an alternate universe. I'm all for that. I'm all for that 100%, dude. Can we just, take his creative control away from everything he does? Because I'm not a fan of J.J. Abrams at all. I'm looking up the Indiana Jones comic right now. Indiana Jones, I don't want to learn about the movie. Let's see if we can pop it up. Earth system. Earth is part of Star Wars. Into the Great Unknown. Here we go. This is the story right here. Let me give you guys a screen share, and we'll talk about one of the coolest, craziest crossovers from Star Wars ever. So, Into the Great Unknown is a 10-page non-canon comic story that was written by W. Hayden Blackman. Within its pages, Han Solo and Chewbacca pilot their starship, the Millennium Falcon, blindly into hyperspace and end up crashing into the planet Earth Pacific Northwest. Solo is attacked and killed by a group of Native Americans, and 126 years later, his skeleton is discovered by the archaeologist Indiana Jones, who is searching the area for the fabled Sasquatch, in fact, Chewbacca. Into the Great Unknown was included in the comic book Star Wars Tales 19, which was released on May 14th, 2004. The story is notable for being the first officially licensed work to include both Han Solo and Indiana Jones, the character portrayed on film by Harrison Ford in the 70s and the 80s. The idea to write the story featuring the two was floated by the staff at Dark Horse Comics, who asked Blackman to pen it. While writing, he inserted references to both film franchises into the story, hoping to appeal to a wide range of fans. Excuse me. So here's an image from the comic. See, to me, this kind of stuff is so fun. This is, again, remember when fun and Star Wars were in the same sentence? I remember. The Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much for your super chat. That comic was a good one. There was also one from Dark Horse where Darth Maul confronts Obi-Wan on Tatooine long before Filoni did it. I'll have to check that one out. I do have a softer spot for reading some old Star Wars comics than I do reading some books and more modern stuff. A lot of love. I do know the Muff Man. Thank you. Tag and Binks were better. Kevin Smith for Lucasfilm president. I don't know, man. That's going to be a dumpster fire if that happens. I just wanted to bring this up to you guys. There's Han Solo. There's Indiana Jones. Short Round accompanied Indiana Jones to find the Millennium Falcon. So my personal favorite sidekick of Indiana Jones got one more appearance. Now we can see the production here on screen. And here's the reception. Due to its merging of the Star Wars and Indiana Jones franchises, Into the Great Unknown has received significant attention on several websites. Frank DiGiacomo of Vanity Fair wrote an article story on the website's culture section and contacted W.H. Blackman to find out more about the story's development. Comicsgasm.com also spotlighted the comic in 2009, and Kriark Lamar of blog IO9 wrote an article on it in May of 2011 that highlighted what he saw as the depressing nature of its story. Although Into the Great Unknown is the first officially licensed work to include both Solo and Jones, two creations of George Lucas, Blackman is unsure whether Lucas is aware of the story's existence. Aw, that's kind of depressing. Here's a question for you guys in the chat. Let me know with either one or two. Is Solo's demise in this comic more depressing, or is Solo's demise in The Force Awakens more depressing? So, one for this more depressing, two for Force Awakens more depressing. I agree that Smith is a hack, but he does love Star Wars. But does he have the ability? Remember, guys, everyone wanted Kevin Smith to make Marvel movies before the MCU. Kevin Smith, work on a Marvel movie, because he constantly talked about comics. Well, there's a reason that his Superman Lives movie never happened. You should watch the documentary from John Schnepp, rest in peace. Just look at Kevin Smith has some moments of greatness, but overall his career is just okay. I'm not here to shit on him because I made the shill video. Love to have him on the channel. Big fan, owned most of his movies on DVD and Blu-ray. Went to the Quick Stop, traveled all over to these things. But I just don't think Kevin Smith on a Star Wars flick is the right... He can't make big movies. Jon Favreau is what Kevin Smith wants to be. He can do it. He has the ability. He's a fan. Jon Favreau, for better or worse, is the right guy for all these things. Rick McCallum returns as president of Lucasfilm after Kathleen Kennedy. He did know how everything worked, so I guess he just wanted out. He wanted out. If Kevin Smith is 98% soy milk, then is the other 2% like bong water? Let's see. Lots of twos. Mostly twos. Okay, so his death in The Force Awakens was dumber or sadder. Jeff, Jon Favreau isn't soy. I have faith and trust in him so long as he has full creative control. Thoughts? I have faith in him too if he has full creative control. I made a video about Jon Favreau when they first announced it. I like Jon Favreau's work. I like him as an actor as well as a director, writer, whatever he does behind the scenes. His stuff has a great sense of humor and fun. Like Iron Man is a fun movie. I'm looking at this Marvel Legends Iron Man figure. When I look back, or I look at Iron Man movies, they're fun. When they get serious, especially in Infinity War. But there's fun at every corner. With the new Star Wars movies, they're trying to be something more than they're not. Star Wars was just a great movie that has a lot of fun in it. And it does have deeper meanings, but the whole movie's not deep, depressing, and boring. I think Rian Johnson got the idea wrong. Well, many things wrong. All Out of Bubblegum. Good morning, Jeff. Just became a patron, was joining some of the after-hour shows. That one with Drunk Kendo was a funny one. Well, thank you, All Out of Bubblegum, for the super chat, as well as supporting world-class bullshitters over on Patreon. I love doing after hours. To me, we can be a little more raw and uncut over there. We don't have to worry about YouTube's restrictions or policies. So we say what we want to say and have a little bit of fun with it. Yeah, Drunk Kendo. I have to tell Kendo not to get too drunk on YouTube because he goes off on tangents. Like if you go back and listen to our The Empire Strikes Back live stream commentary here on the channel, I think he blacked out because all he did is talk about his dad for like 2 or 3 hours. You can go back and listen to it. I'm not exaggerating. He just can't focus on the movie. So it's pretty funny. And then on the James Bond commentary that I'm going to release tomorrow on Patreon, The Spy Who Loved Me, I don't know if he was drinking as much, but him and Dion were kind of throwing verbal barbs back at each other. It was funny too. But thank you, All Out of Bubblegum. And folks, if you want to hear those things, they're on Patreon. And it's a lot of fun. And we're building a community over there that's rivaling the one on YouTube. So if you want to be a part of that, check it out. Is somebody quoting Creed in the chat? Like, I'm open to a lot of things, but if we talk about Scott Stapp and Creed, I'm just going to be like, no, the show's done. Yeah, no Drunk Kendo on YouTube, please. Don't worry. I know, believe me, I know what you guys like and what you don't like. Trust me, I want this channel to succeed. Drunk Kendo is for conventions and Patreon only. By the way, Kendo will be very drunk, as we all will be, at Indianapolis Horror Hound on the 24th through the 26th. So find us early in the day. That's all I can say. Kevin Smith would never come on the channel after our shill video. Well, he'd have to watch the shill video first because I didn't actually say anything bad about him as a human being. I actually said I think he's a good father and a good friend for what he's done for Jason Mewes. I just don't enjoy his work, and I don't trust his reviews on anything. And I think Kevin Smith is smart enough to get that. But I'm not really worried about him appearing on the show. I'm not staking the whole show's existence on it, but it would be nice because I feel like he and I would have a lot to talk about. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this Creed talk. Creed sucks. Alter Bridge is far superior. I know one song by Alter Bridge, and that's Metalingus, the theme song for Edge from the WWE. Who's worse, Creed, Nickelback, or Puddle of Mud? Nickelback's the worst, followed by Creed, and then Puddle of Mud has like 2 or 3 songs I like that song Famous. I like that song, it's fun. But yeah, that's the order. Fuck Nickelback, dude. I'm not gonna go say Nickelback's a good band. If I had a Back to the Future DeLorean, where would I go? Probably back in the day to invest in stocks and then come back to the future. Because I like where I am now. I just would like to have, $1 billion while doing it. That'd be crazy. Muff eating Brosnan. So let's see. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to say about the Star Wars live action shows? It's $100 million for 10 episodes randomly. The old one sounded like it could have been better, but we don't know it's going to come from Jon Favreau and the rest. I'm betting on the fact that a lot of people that are burned by it aren't going to pay for the streaming service. Maybe we'll cover it, maybe we won't, depending on the demand. If we reach, if we reach 100,000 subscribers by the time the Disney streaming service is live, then we'll review every piece of Star Wars content they put out. So until then, we can't. But let's make that happen. Spread the world of world-class bullshitters. You think you can entice Kevin Smith onto the podcast with the promise of moist muff? Maybe. He seems to be married to a wife, though, that will put out. I don't know whose muff it would be. Who could we get Kevin Smith to appear on the show for? I don't know. You give me some suggestions, but we can offer. Mara Shino. I don't know how you guys do it, but WCB makes me happy about life again. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. That comment makes me very, very happy about that's just a nice thing to say. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, let's see. We can offer Cecil. I think he'll say yes. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the chat right now. You guys are funny. There's going to be a Star Wars 1313 video game, but Disney shit canned it. Yeah, there was. Hold on. Let me press muff if you want me to talk about that real quick. For those out there who don't know what the Star Wars 1313 game is, type in muff and I'll cover it real quick on this Wikipedia thing before I close it out, before we get into the comic book segment, before I show this awesome fan art that we received. All kinds of crazy stuff. 1 muff, 2 muff, 3 muff. Oh my God, there's just a wall of muff on my screen. And this is work. Okay, so yes, the muff is rolling in. It's funny how long it takes you guys to write out muff compared to, when it's like press F for this, there's a wall of Fs. It takes a second for the muff to pop up. So let's see what we had here. Search. Star Wars 1313. Boom. Star Wars 1313 was a video game in development at LucasArts. It was to follow the bounty hunter Boba Fett having to navigate level 1313, a subterranean metropolis within the planet of Coruscant. Already, it sounds incredible. Gameplay. The player would have taken the role of an unidentified bounty hunter, later revealed to be Boba Fett, who navigates Coruscant's underworld, metropolis of level 1313. Various exotic weapons would have been utilized as the player uncovers a criminal conspiracy. Oh, and it would have been on the PlayStation 4. God damn it, Disney. Okay, look at what we got now. This is Disney in a nutshell. We have something like this that sounds incredible. Within a paragraph, I'm pumped and we're ready. If you would have told me back then, like the game's available, read this paragraph, you can buy whichever game you want. It's like this, or you can buy countless microtransactions to play a broken game with stupid characters that no one likes and shitty spaceship handling. What do you want? I'm going to go Star Wars 1313, but they went where the money was with Battlefront, but they damaged the brand. I think Disney and Lucasfilm and LucasArts and everybody needs to know that sometimes going for the quick buck hurts you beyond what you could possibly foresee in the future. And listen to this, it gets better / worse. 1313 is going for a mature rating. Great news for anyone who believes Star Wars, more child-centric offerings have been its most disappointing. For LucasArts, this doesn't have to mean gore and sensationalism. It means adult themes and stories, another reason for its glowing anticipation. Sometimes games pursue an M rating because of the desire to do something more gratuitously gory, and that's not what we're going to do at all. I just don't think that these kinds of things go well with Star Wars. So when we talk about making something mature themed, it's really about these characters, the types of story content we're going to be dealing with, and the kind of things they're motivated by. The world itself as well. That's it. That's really all there is to say about it. I mean, we can just talk about how it's not coming out and how that's depressing. Oh, I know. Rest in peace, Star Wars 1313. Sometimes I was so focused in life about the original trilogy that I wouldn't pay attention to other stuff. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't pay too close attention to this, because I don't do many video games. But when something like this would be announced, I would pay attention to it and I'd get excited. And now I'd be ultimately disappointed that it's not happening. So one internet tier for that. Did I talk about Crazy Dave Bautista? Do you want me to cover Crazy Dave Bautista? I can. Press F if you want me to cover Crazy Dave Bautista, or I can cover the Deadpool series over. I can cover both, but if you want me to talk about Dave Bautista, let me know. Michael Rodriguez, thank you for your super chat. Battlefront, more like Battle Flop. It was a fucking flop. I saw Battlefront on sale so many. Like, you can get the Extreme Edition or whatever it's called, the Uni Hyper Gepper Bomb Edition with everything for like $19. And then you got number 2 that has come out, and they had to change the whole pay-to-play system. They really hurt microtransactions as an idea going forward. Star Wars and first-person games don't really go well together. I know there's Republic Commando and Dark Forces, and those are fine. But when I think of good Star Wars games, I usually think of third-person action. I think of like a Rogue Squadron fighter game, which you can play in first-person, but I never did. And I think of games like The Force Unleashed and number 2 and stuff like that. I like being able to see the action. I don't like a gun in my hand, and that's Star Wars. No, to me, that's Call of Duty. That's Battlefield. That's other things. That's not Star Wars. To me, Star Wars is the character and the world. I don't need to be the character. I need to control the character. I'm more interested as playing Boba Fett or Han or Luke or Vader or Yoda or any of those people. I'm not interested in being like, that's all I see, their hands. Okay, so lots of F. Okay, we can cover that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. This show should be called The Great Ideas That Could Have Been a Star Wars Story, because we could have had Lucas's films that never will see the light of day. We could have had this excellent old Star Wars show, and we could have had 1313. I think that was the plan. Lucas knew that Boba Fett was the future, or just that world, bounty hunters and the dark, seedy underworld of Star Wars, and it wasn't about Jedi and all this crap. It wasn't the story of Skywalker. That's where the money was. That's where the great stories were. The unmoved Earth. That's where they could have gone and had so much more latitude to create new ideas and crazy things. But instead, we retread the old shit with Disney. Thank you, JJ. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Ryan Johnson, Pablo Hidalgo, and everyone. Thank you. Assholes. I miss the X-Wing versus TIE Fighter series as well, John. I do too. Now, real quick, we're talking about the Bautista thing with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So our friend, actually no one's friend, Scott Mendelson, talked about a possible reboot. I'm going to make a video on that separately, because I don't really want to try to get into that now and formulate my ideas only on one cup of coffee. I need 12, and I need to be jacked up on Java. But my point is, with Bautista saying without James Gunn, it's not Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that he needs to get out of this contract. I'm not going to talk about Batista being a good friend or anything like that. But what I will say right now is that Batista has other places to go. He'll pay his money that he has to pay to Marvel, and he can move on to something else. I hope this doesn't happen because I think Drax is one of the best characters in all of the MCU. He's funny. He's noble. When I thought he died in Infinity War, I was like, oh no. Before the dust and everybody, I was really concerned because I was like, Jesus, man, Drax, no. And he turned to those blocks. I was really into that movie. I'm sorry. The point is, I like Batista as an actor, and I like Drax the Destroyer as a character. No one else should play him. That's one thing Marvel has only done once, and that's have multiple people play, well, twice now. Rhodey and the Red Skull were both played by multiple actors. But I don't like that. I like how Marvel has essentially kept the same actors all along. Even if they're in small bit roles, like Pepper Potts is in the Avengers for 3 to 4 minutes, it's still nice, and it builds the world that she's there. Without Drax as Batista, played by Batista, what's the point? He is the anchor to them in many ways, and I just don't like the idea without him. Now, if he goes off, he'll be fine. He's been in a Bond flick. He's been in other movies. He's been a wrestler. He's been the main event of WrestleMania multiple times. I know a lot of people here don't like wrestling, and I'm not here to try to convert you to watching wrestling, but if you've only known Batista as an actor, he was a big deal as a wrestler. He wrestled The Undertaker, Triple H, all kinds of guys. Like Batista was the main event. Now, he was very injury prone, so he didn't have the longevity that most wrestlers would have, like a John Cena or a Triple H or something like that. Well, Batista was as big a deal as you can imagine. He wasn't like Hulk Hogan or The Rock big, but there was a time where he was the guy, and John Cena was seen as the second level to Batista for a short period of time. So Batista has that in him. He could always go back and do one more run in the company. He could make a bunch of money. He could retire. He can do merchandise. He could do conventions. He doesn't have any fucks to give because he knows that he is safe. He's insulated from a smear campaign of his career. He's known as a certain type of guy, and people will come out and see him in droves. So those are my thoughts. I don't think Batista's necessarily crazy. I'm not going to get into the political aspect right now of the James Gunn situation, but Batista's a guy who believes in his friend, and he will back him up, and he will leave if he doesn't get what he wants, essentially. So Batista's safe, and that is my stance on it. And yes, the Hulk has 2 actors. I stand corrected. I apologize for that. Johnny Storm. I'm only talking about the MCU proper. Yes, the Bond fight in you mean Spectre was awesome, where he fought. Oh, okay, Jeff. They changed the actor 3 times for Farndale. The Warriors 3 was replaced by the guy playing Shazam. Oh yeah, that guy. Sorry, I couldn't. He looks like Carrie Elways in 2000 whatever years Thor came out. It just looks like that. It looks like Carrie Elways was brought to the future. So yes. Jeremy completely disagrees with you, Jeff. Like from Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy? That's fine. We don't have to agree with anything. We'll talk about it tonight on the High Council. Remind me to bring it up, and I'll lay the verbal smackdown on him as well. And yes, I just smacked my elbow like the people's elbow. Cesare Japan. What a hill to die on for Guardians of the Galaxy's cast. Yeah, well, Batista's making that decision. I guess he knows more than we know, or just doesn't really care about, that job. Yeah. Kane won. Kane's a mayor. You need to discuss Batista with Jeremy on the High Council. Could be an interesting convo. Well, I will. Jeremy, unlike Jeremy, I've been to like 40 events, and I don't mean just like little in your house local events. I've been to go to WrestleMania every year, traveled the country for that shit. So, like I said, I'm not gonna turn this into a wrestling podcast, but Batista was a big deal. Let's see. My favorite wrestlers always been Triple H, Kane, Undertaker, Mick Foley, Goldust, Hurricane Helms. Good choices. I don't like Triple H that much, but he's a great wrestler. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. How many Guardians movies can they make anyway? One more. Guardians 3 would have been it. I think Marvel tends to do the trilogies and then bring on more people. I would have been fine, though, with the current cast And the way I loved Guardians of the Galaxy 2 way more than part 1. I thought part 1 lived and died by its soundtrack. People weren't really paying attention to the movie. They were focused on the damn soundtrack. And oh, I know this and I know that. And yeah, the ending was good. We are Groot. But man, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 gut punched you with the fucking Yondu shit. Yondu stole that movie. And I'm not even that big of a Michael Rooker fan. I like Slither. I like Mallrats and a couple. I met Michael Rooker, not that friendly of a dude. Point is, Yondu, man, that was a fantastic role and a great way to go out when the Salvager guys did the fireworks and all that crap and gave him the ending. Awesome. I'm Mary Poppinjaw. Guardians 2 just worked for me. I was really excited by that movie. Guardians 3, I was hoping would have been more of the same in terms of like the emotional gut punch, the funny nature, all that stuff. And if they were slick, they would have kept that core group of people, the cast, and they would have kept sending them on different adventures, because that could have been your next Avengers type of thing. You could have had Guardians go into space constantly and deal with Adam Warlock, the Beyonder, all that stuff. You could have introduced, and now with Fox being purchased by Disney, that could have been the thing. That could have been where they go next with the franchise, but they're choosing Captain Marvel and all this garbage. The Super Smash Brothers candidates is back. Well, that's okay that you were on vacation. I hope you had a good time, and I'm glad you're back here. I'm thinking about taking a small little trip, but I'm thinking about also broadcasting Good Morning Pop Culture live from the great state of Virginia. So when I go out of town, you won't even know about it. Yondu was better than Mary Poppins Leia Darth Primus. I agree 100%. I just love that. I love that scene. It was so funny. So that's really all I have to say about the Batista situation. I enjoyed... come on, Jeff. The first one was better. The whole story with Russell wasn't great. When he talked about killing Star-Lord's mom and he like snapped out of that shit, I was into it. I like number 2 more. I've watched 1 and 2 back to back recently. I'm going with 2 all day, every day. Thank you, Pagan God X. I appreciate that you have just found us and that you're subscribed. I hope you go back and listen to all the stuff and catch us each morning with Good Morning Pop Culture, because I love doing the show. We got tons of stuff to talk about. Even still, I have more stuff planned. In Virginia, where maybe Virginia Beach, I might be visiting Joel. So there we go. Well, if you want to watch Guardians 2 again, it's on Netflix. So I'm sure most of you have Netflix. Go watch it. It's on there. So let's talk about... What will we talk about next? Well, we're talking about Marvel. Let's keep this in the Marvel realm, because we like comic books, we like fan art, we like Star Wars, we like all this stuff. We like to enjoy fun geek culture content, and this comes all the way from GameSpot. I missed Muff. I never missed Muff. It says, Marvel shut down Donald Glover's Deadpool TV show, FX CEO says. FX wanted to have the show, but Marvel shut it down. So this is good news. Donald Glover was working on an animated Deadpool show, but in March of this year, the project fell apart. The show was set to air on FX, and now the network CEO has come forward to talk about why the program got the axe. It was Marvel's decision, John Landgraf told Variety. He said Marvel didn't want to move forward on the show that Glover and his brother Steven were working on. FX would have been happy to have it, but Marvel shut it down reportedly. Marvel didn't want to do the show that Donald and Steven Glover wrote. We would have done the show that Donald Glover Steven wrote, but it wasn't our decision. Man, this article is very repetitive. Rob Liefeld chimed in on it and said that Donald Glover is a genius, but it wasn't going to happen. Now, Donald Glover said the show was canceled due to creative differences, but we haven't seen that. So, would you guys have watched a Deadpool television show? Oh, okay. I see you're talking about. Thank you, Adam. Not you. You never miss Muff. I never do. Mr. Game and Chat, thank you. Do I think Guardians of the Galaxy would have replaced Star Wars had it kept messing up? It could have, really. It's funny. Disney has both space properties that could really just set the next 50 years of space properties. Because Star Trek's dead in the water. Doomcock can talk about that all day. That is his corner of the internet. I'm not even going to try to pontificate on that. He knows it better than I do. But with Guardians of the Galaxy, you had that next generation of kids. I saw more kids with Groot and Rocket Raccoon and Star-Lord and all those than I see Han and Chewbacca. It was the parents of the kids that liked Han, Chewbacca, and all them that kind of moved the kids onto that. But now the new modern space mythology is Rocket and Groot and Star-Lord and Gamora and all that stuff. So we didn't need Star Wars to carry that. You should have used Star Wars to, I don't know, bring back an older audience and do stuff like that. But Guardians could have been that thing for the next generation. Ruin Roundhead Kick, thank you very much for your super chat. When are you going to do a podcast with Dishonored Wolf and Mauler? Also, you should get Doomcock on that podcast as well. Well, Ruin Roundhead Kick, it's funny that you asked, because at the beginning of the show, I let the listeners know that on the 13th of August, 1 week from yesterday, Mauler and the Dishonored Wolf are going to appear here on World Class Bullshitters. Now, I don't know exactly the time, but they will be here on the 13th, and we will have a discussion. I'll see if Doomcock's available. We can make it a four-way thing. He's always welcomed on the channel. But as of now, I have both of those guys available on the date. Let's see. So thank you, Maroon Roundhead Kick. I appreciate that. Not a fan of Dion, but why not trying to get Dion and Doomcock to talk Star Trek? Well, Hernandez, I could find out if they have the time to do it. Remember, Dion's really only available for the World Class Bullshitters podcast, and Doomcock has his own channel, but I can invite him on to be a guest on World Class Bullshitters. Maybe he'll replace Kendo or Nick 1 week if they're not available. Or we'll just have him on as a fifth member, an honorary bullshitter. He's not the late channel dad, but he'll, be much better. But it seems like you guys really love Doomcock, so I'll have him on. I'll just have him on as a one-on-one discussion. We can just talk about everything. That dude's great. He's really kind off air, too. He's a very genuine, cordial dude. So his videos are great, and he's great. It'd be a 5-hour show. Let's see. I ask Dishonored Wolf about Precious Furry Fox Boys. Probably not, because I don't even know what the hell that shit is. Sorry, guys. Precious Crystal Fox Boys. Oh, okay. Well, those are in the movie, so we can ask him about that. Can we get John Null / Dennis Murin? Like, on the show? Like, the Dennis Murin? I'd love to interview guys that worked on Star Wars back in the day. Maybe I could get that. Now, one thing, though, folks, if we do get people that have worked on Star Wars, you can't really bombard them with SJW questions, because either they'll leave, or they won't come back, or they'll tell their people not to come back. So you got to have interesting ways to get them to talk about why these movies don't work, if they don't, think the movies work. I'm sure you could find somebody. I'd love to get Gary Kurtz to ask him about why Return of the Jedi is the way it is and stuff like that. That's one benefit of the channel growing. I will continue to pursue that type of stuff. Can I get George Lucas on the show? Let me call him up right now, Holdo's Muff. I got his number on speed dial because we're best friends, and I'll gladly have George Lucas on the show. Muff the like button. How about like the muff button? That would be much better if we could have that on our own YouTube page. The muff button. Like it. Boom. Yeah, lots of hate with this new Star Trek stuff. Like I said, I don't watch it. I'm not going to pay CBS $10 a month for their streaming service to watch a show that I don't like. I will watch Star Trek, the original series, because it's fun and campy, and the animated series because it's a spin-off of the original series. Other than that, I'm not a Trekkie, whatever the hell you want to call them. It's not my brand. What if I got George Lucas to appear on your show? Well, Jason Voorhees, if you got George Lucas, the real one, to appear on the show, and it wasn't a troll job, I would be forever indebted to you for creating one of the most memorable moments of my life, and I would thank you every day. But make it happen, and I will thank you every day. As a Star Wars figure collector for nearly 18 years, I can explain in detail why the new 7.5 figures rot on shelves. You're 23, though. Well, I'd like to have that discussion with you. Maybe I'll do a fan hangout soon where you come on and talk about that. I do love talking about Star Wars figures. The new ones are just kind of crappy. It's like we're going to relaunch the vintage collection. Here's repacks of shit that didn't sell from Walmart. There's a reason they didn't sell, and it wasn't because they were only at Walmart. Walmart's like the biggest retailer in the world. Oh, well, if it's at Walmart, that means it's everywhere. Whatever. Lucas, big media has trouble getting a hold of George Lucas these days. Maybe Lucas will help the little guys have a battle. Maybe we'll be like the Rebel Alliance, and he's our Luke Skywalker, or he's our Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's our only hope. No, I didn't hold those muffs, so there we go. But this Deadpool show, I wanted to bring this up because Dong Lover and his pansexual Lando, and now Deadpool and its pansexuality. It's like Deadpool's funny for what it is, but let's not make it something else. Grand Inquisitor, Jeff, you're supposed to lick the muff button. Well, thank you, Grand Inquisitor, for correcting my ignorance. You heard it from the Grand Inquisitor, folks. You got it for the. You heard it from the Grand Inquisitor. Get Ivan Ortega on an episode of The Bullshitters. I can gladly get Ivan Ortega on. He's a very nice guy, so it's not like it's going to be a difficult get. Jeff, if they did make 1313, would you like it if they used VA from the Robot Chicken specials? Who was John on the live action Garfield? Oh, for the voice of Darth Vader? Why not go all out and try to get James Earl Jones? But they could get a sound alike. They could get a better. I'm all out of bubblegum. I appreciate that. Tico likes my mom. God damn it. Thank you, Holdo's Muff. You see what you've done to this show now? Just saying, man. You've ruined it. Oh, Grendel Fan 84. Good morning from Comics Elite. I believe Marvel was cautious and correct that Dong Lover would incorporate his own politics into the cartoon. Well, Grendel Fan, thank you very much, and welcome back to the show. I appreciate that you're here because we were just getting ready to talk about some more comic book stuff. But Marvel, I think, was correct too, because so far they've been so slick. Now maybe they're going to subvert our expectations with Captain Marvel, and we're going to get something that isn't this SJW rhetoric that we're all expecting, and we'll go, huh, it wasn't that bad, and like it. Or maybe they've actually just been planning to go this the whole time, like in Order 66, like Kevin Feige's like execute Order SJW, and then boom, it happens. That's the plan. We'll never know until next March. But I think they do want to keep that stuff out of the way, because isn't Marvel proper, like the one that's owned by Disney, in charge of all the TV stuff? And according to like the animation, like Disney bought Marvel animation stuff years ago. Maybe like an Adult Swim style show where like a Black Dynamite, or a Venture Brothers type of show with Daredevil or Deadpool would have worked. But not with Dong Lover's ideologies. I don't really like him. It's not, because of Star Wars. I just don't like him as an actor or a musician or anything. He's just there. I've never been a Donald Glover fan. I don't know why everyone eats up all his bullshit all the time. And it has nothing to do with his looks or anything. I just don't find him that funny. There's a ton of people I don't find funny out in the world that are meant to be comedians, or these, well-spoken, articulate creators that have something to say about society. They're just not for me. Like, I like Jordan Peele on Key and Peele, but he can keep his other shit to himself. I'm not interested. I'm not buying. So speaking of comic books, let's look at this week's bad comic book art, or today's bad comic book art. So this comes from our friend Rob Liefeld. I hope he's listening. I'm all out of coffee to drink, or else I'd be slurping it up right in your ear. But this is Shatterstar, I believe. And I don't know exactly I know what's going on. He's hiding the feet. But let's just look at how meaty the legs are and how disproportionate this body is. Yes, it is Liefeld H. By the way, the H, since you like Triple H, go on WWE 2K18 and download H as a character. You'll trust me. You'll enjoy it later. Sorry, Jason Voorhees. Yeah, I'm showing it to everybody. This is our ugly art of the day. Don't worry, though. I have some beautiful fan art next to show you guys, because our fan base has grown to a point where now people draw us all the time. And I want to get that guy actually on the show to discuss his art, because this dude is awesome. And I really appreciate that he's taken the time to draw the High Council and all the bullshitters, as well as giving Dion a little special love here. John Chipola, my 50th birthday is on the 13th of this month. Well, John, happy birthday in advance, and I hope you join us for our live stream if you have the day to yourself, so all the fans of World Class Bullshitters can wish you a happy birthday. And I hope you do something fun. Our channel dad, Brian Leap, just turned 50, and we had a stream in his honor, so we'd like to wish you a happy birthday in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. Grendel Fan 84, if anyone loves Venom, we just posted store exclusive Venom First Host #1 cover by Gabriel Delato on our Comics Elite website. You know, Grendel Fan, I follow you guys on your Facebook page, and I get to see all that stuff. And it makes me a little envious that my local store doesn't get stuff like that. But then again, I can always just order it from you guys. I'm hoping you get some exclusive Romita stuff. I know he doesn't really draw much. I know he did something for 800. But man, if you guys had like a Romita exclusive cover, I may go ape shit and just buy it. I don't care. I love that guy's artwork. That is the artist I strive to be. Cadmium Red, I just had my 32nd birthday this past Sunday. Well, happy belated birthday, Cadmium Red, from all of us here at World Class Bullshitters, from all the fans, all the listeners out there. Hope you did something fun, or you just relaxed and didn't do anything you didn't want to do. It's your birthday, so you do what you want. If you want to cry at your party, go to. Who else had a belated birthday? Barb Barella, was that their birthday too? I just see happy belated birthday to Barb. So thank you that you guys want to tell us about your birthdays, because we'd like to tell everyone about them for you too. Shattermuff. Yeah, that is Shattermuff right there. Shattermuff. Ugh. But yeah, the guy didn't skip leg day. The guy is buff beyond buff. It's unattractive. I don't like to rip on Rob Liefeld every week because, you know, it's the cool thing to do. But when you type in bad comic book art and this is what pops up, you got to pay attention to it. So he's got his swords, he's got his vest, his gun. What? Let's play a game. Count the pouches. And then let's see if they're consistent in the next panel. This is just so ugly. He's not even holding the gun properly. Rob Liefeld, you have grown as an artist nowadays, so I'm not trying to rip on you for comedic effect, but man, what the fuck? Grendel Fan 84, thank you for your super chat. We have that 800 Romita cover in our store. Damn it. Don't tell me these things, man, because then I'm going to be like, huh, how much? And then before you know it, I got a damn comic book that I don't need at my house. Spider-Man number 800 sucked. Anyway, I have the basic cover, and I just hated the book. But man, Romita, Midnight Cherry TV, thank you very much. I made a Madagascar trailer featuring Dion and you, Jeff. It's on my channel. My emails and tweets get no response, but I'm dying for you and Dion to see it. Well, I'll remember the tweets don't ever go to me. So if you're trying to contact me, Twitter is never going to get me. And I'll sit down and read the emails later on this morning after the show. Like I said, I had a busy Friday afternoon into now. Been busy with family and other stuff. So now I'm back in your service, fans of World Class Bullshitters, friends of World Class Bullshitters, if you will. And I'll make sure I read all those emails and get back with you. Pretty good about getting back on the emails. Even if it takes a couple days, everybody usually gets a response. Lots of pouches, lots of pouch talk. Oh my God. Has anyone seen the pouch? Yes, Dio Brando, I've seen the pouch. Tiny ankle. Everybody just has something to say about that. Pouch is filled with milk duds. You want me to switch to the fan art? All right, press F if you want me to switch to the fan art. Have you guys had enough of our daily Rob Liefeld? Like our daily bread, which is a church mission here in town. Dio Brando, have you seen Rob Liefeld, the pouch? Put him on screen. All right, well, since you sent in a super chat for it, I will put the pouch on screen. Give me just a moment, and I will pull it up. Now, Rob Liefeld, somebody I'd like to have on the show. Because, again, I wouldn't ask somebody on the show to just, like, rip him apart or even make fun of him at all. I would just want to, like, talk to Rob Liefeld about stuff. So here's the pouch. Open image in your tab. Boom. Let me share the pouch with you guys. See, one thing I like about Rob Liefeld and respect the most is that he understands the humor and what people say about him, and he plays into it. Rob Liefeld seems like a good dude. They're muff pouches. We never got Jewel Shepard on our stream. We ended up having a couple patrons on, but I can reach out to her. There is there you go. There's the pouch as requested by Dio Brando. There we go. So there's the pouch. Thank you to Dio Brando for enlightening us with his pouch gun. It's funny though that Rob Liefeld is so self-aware that he can, make fun of himself like this. Even the fingers are pouches. New Mega Man robot confirmed. Pouch Man. I would love that. Capcom, can you guys cut a check to Rob Liefeld to put Pouch Man in the next Mega Man game? Animate him. Let's do a remake of Mega Man X with 4K graphics, where we just, new sprites and everything, and then we put Pouch Man in there as a fight. Pouchception. He's a new Bond villain. This is horrifying. As in pow and ouch. Moist pouches on a kangaroo. Oh, what the fuck, Mr. Pouch Man? How about one Pouch Man? Oh, god damn it. I like it. I like all the names for the pouch. Let me talk to Ethan and I'll ask him if he can get me in contact with Rob Liefeld and we can talk about the pouch on air. We could just have fun on air for a little bit. I'd love to get him on. Rob Liefeld should trademark pouches. Oh man, if you could trademark that, Rob Liefeld would be a richer man than he already is. He'll never run out of ammo, so there's that. So much love for the pouch. Oh, I want to cosplay it too. You'll never know it's me. You'll never know it's me. Rob Liefeld shows us one thing. You don't need to be good, just memorable. The thing is, though, with Rob Liefeld, he's gotten a lot better as he's gotten older. Like, I'll give him that. The stuff that we make fun of from the thing, from that website, yeah, I get it. They are bad. He was in a rush, and I understand that. I've drawn. Not everything you draw is great, and sometimes you're embarrassed. Ethan will attest to that. We talked about that on an episode of the High Council in reference to Star Wars, the Special Edition Trilogy, where George Lucas wants to go back and fix things. I said to Ethan, if you could go back and fix something you drew in a comic, wouldn't you love to? And he goes, yes, of course. So I get that. At least Rob Liefeld is self-aware and funny. A lot of artists are very introverted and odd. Not every comic book artist is as funny as Ethan Van Sciver, Rob Liefeld, or those guys. Like, there are a lot of them that are very quiet and weird individuals. Not even weird, they're just quiet, and they don't like to laugh or talk. They speak through their art. That's why another reason I didn't really do as many comic conventions as I wanted to, because other artists just, I'm like trying to talk to them and laugh and all this stuff, and they're just like, yeah, I just want to draw. And I'm like, okay, I get it. So instead of trying to change the people around me, I changed the people around me, if you know what I mean. So I just went where people were, outspoken and funny and, liked to laugh. So Rob Liefeld seems like one of those dudes. So big ups to him as a person, not ripping on him there. But let's just admit it, guys. That Captain America is so bad. There are so many things that don't make sense in that picture. I'm not even going to try to defend that, and neither should you. Let's see. Yeah, Rob Liefeld talking about his pouches in a video. Well, I think we've had enough of the pouch. Let's show this fan art, because we actually have a really good fan artist out there that's drawing us. So this comes from our Facebook page. And let's all take a look at that. By the way, folks, if you ever take the time to draw us, I will showcase it on the show and on the Facebook page. And then if you guys let me know your Twitter, we'll tag you on Twitter and post it there too, so your art can be seen. So there we are. There's the fan art. That is a great horse. This is great fan art. That is Dion and Mr. Ed. There should be My Little Pony fan art with Dion in the middle. I could draw. I don't like to draw My Little Pony. I could, but I won't. Dion loves this, though. For anyone that thinks, oh, you're ripping apart your best friend and making them uncomfortable, let me read you Dion's response to this from my our personal world-class bullshitters page. It just goes, so Nick shares it saying, oh, shit. And then Kendo says, we have some great fans. And then Dion says, ha, 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 god damn it. So this is incredible. I really mean it. I absolutely love the shit out of this. Let me get the guy's name pulled up so everyone can get mentioned. Because that, you work hard, you want to get a mention here. There should be the TriStar Pegasus horse running around jumping through the panel with Dion. Oh my god. Oh man, they updated Facebook on mobile. Fuck, I hate Facebook on mobile. Yes, that is a rooster next to Dion because the artist used the inspiration of the Mr. Ed DVD box art. So that's what this is. This is an homage to that, if you will. And it's a fantastic one. I'm going to be pulling it up in just a second. Your video, Midnight Cherry, his video has Dion as a talking zebra. Oh man, I'm going to read that email. I promise. Now, this comes from Curtis Hamenda, Hamende. So I hope I'm not butchering the name. But Curtis, thank you very much for taking the time to draw this. I woke up to this. I tell you, I wake up and I'm excited for the show. I woke up to this first and I went, okay, this is what's going to set the tone for the rest of the day. I love it. I love it so much, Curtis. Thank you so much. Yeah. Starring the one, the only Dion Green as Wilbur and Kathleen Kennedy as the famous Mr. Ed. I think we should do a parody called Sister Ed where we have a sassy black woman as the voice of the horse and Dion's just afraid. Well, Evernum, if people are doing live streams at the same time, remember, Good Morning Pop Culture is here every Tuesday through Friday, 7:45 till 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, I love the morning show. This is it for me right now. It's just fun. I love it. It's nice. It's relaxing. I get to interact with so many people. We have fun. It's a good way to start your day. And, some people have jobs they don't like. Some people are driving trucks. If you ever want to share what you do, like how you listen to this show while you're doing what you do, let me know. I'd love to read them on air, off air, whatever. You can just tell me what you do while you're listening to this show. Like Eddie Murphy's Norbert voices the horse. Where's the High Council? The High Council is on Ethan Van Sciver's channel because I took it last week. This was supposed to be my week, but I took it last week, so we're alternating. So this week is Ethan, then Jeremy, and then Ethan, Jeremy. Then I'm back on the 21st of August. So right before I leave for Indianapolis Horror Hound. Cadmium Red, are you asking about the story for the live-action Star Wars show? Is that what you're asking? I can cover that again in a minute. Getting ready to be on Gotham. That's your job. Cool. I guess there's more people that work in the entertainment industry that listen to this show than I realized. So that's awesome. I know we have a friend named Frank who works on some of the Marvel shows. And that's not me putting out his private information. That's stuff he shared in the chat. So I never oust anyone because I would never do that. A lot of times I don't even read real people's names after I figure out your screen name and your real name so people can't tie it together just for privacy. But the guy uses a screen name of Frank, and he's told us this on air. So that's not me, exposing anybody. Oh, you changed your name. Okay, cool. Well, there we go. See, I remember you guys. Change your name, I still remember you. Change your name from Frank Bullitt to Jason Bourne. Okay, well, see? Man, I just brought you up on the show, and you didn't even realize. Well, I didn't even realize you were still here. Let's see. I've been exposed. Yeah, Brandon Moist. The moist is... If you expose the moist too much, does it dry out? Ask yourself that question, Brandon. Ask yourself that question. But yeah, big ups to our friend Curtis. Speaking of big ups, you guys ever seen that movie The Goods? I watched that this weekend with the fictional boy band Big Ups. If you need a good laugh, watch The Goods. Expose the moist. It's okay to rip on Rob Liefeld. Lynn Carr's been doing it since Youngblood #1 when she uploaded to YouTube in December of 2013. Oh my God, Lynn Carr. I used to watch Atop the Fourth Wall every Monday when I was in college in 2010. Yeah, because my last semester at Michigan State, I had my own dorm room, and none of my friends lived by me. So it was kind of boring and lonely. So I'd go hang out with Dion on the weekends. But I used to watch Atop the Fourth Wall or Bad Comics Burn every Monday. I'd go to the cafeteria, get my takeout, and then I would sit down and eat and watch the show. And It was okay. I stopped watching it shortly thereafter because I got tired of him. God, the moist. Cesaria Japan, that's my uncanny mutant ability to remember names. It's very important to remember somebody's name because it makes them feel important, and you want to. That's the one goal. One of the goals I have on this channel is to make everyone feel welcomed. It's a community. It's not just me with a microphone. It's all of us. I read the chat. We interact. This shows as much me as it is you guys. So I just want to make everyone feel important. It's something I wish I would have done earlier in my life because for a while I would just be like, hey, it's you or whatever. And people think you dislike them or don't care about them, but you want more people to realize that. And I wish I would have done it earlier, like I said, but I didn't. So I do it now so I don't have those same problems in the future. In space, Holdo's Muff can hear you scream. Believe me, if I saw Holdo's Muff, let's see. I've changed my name too. You remember the mistake you made while reading my comment. You called me Peter, but in fact my name is Piotr. Keep calling me Peter though. Does the last name have a K in it? I guess I did mess that one up, but I think I remember you too. You only watched Linkar's Power Ranger videos. I watched those too because I grew up on that show. If he's available towards the end of the year, I'll try to contact Jason David Frank for an interview. That'd be fun. And I will show my White Ranger costume of me in the suit. Shout out to the dude who sent me that picture over through email about Blue Ranger power, Red Ranger power, White Ranger. You get the rest. See, random dude on the internet. I did remember you. Even though I messed up your name, I still remembered the last part. So I remember you as a person. See, there was a guy, the healthy man, who just went off to, I think it was the Marines. And he's been listening since we started the channel in 2015 proper. And that dude used to have a different name, and he's my Facebook friend and stuff like that. So I do know his real name, but I remember him and his Tobey Maguire image and stuff like that. So that's one nice thing that like you get to know you guys if you're on here and you're on our Facebook page and stuff. I get to know you guys in different ways. And some of you I can call friends and know you. Like Trent is a good dude. He's in the chat. I know him. He's a friend now. Brian Lape, even though we live in the same city, we became friends through the channel. So I hope to continue to do that to where I know more of you guys. Like we don't try to make ourselves very easily accessible. We're on the page, we're here, we're there. It's easy to contact us. Like I even say at the end of the show, if you need us, contact me. Here we are. So we do build this community up, and we're more than just, Ryan Johnson sucks. There's a lot to us. And I mean us as in everyone that listens. We have cool people that have awesome jobs. Some people have boring jobs, but we all come together to discuss pop culture. The Pink Ranger's coming to Toronto at the end of the month. Ooh, is it Amy Jo Johnson, the real Pink Ranger, or is it the secondary one that nobody remembers her name? Let's see. Oh, you just wanted to know what today's top story was. You missed that part. Oh, okay. I can tell you that before we get into the Ask Jeff Anything segment. So the top story, well, I could pull it up for myself, but I didn't pull it up for you guys, was that the Disney live-action Star Wars series might cost upwards of $100 million for 10 episodes. So the Disney streaming service will have all the Marvel films and shows, except and then in terms of Star Wars, it won't have the original trilogies. And then it says that it's supposed to be substantially cheaper than Netflix and launch in 2019. And that the Star Wars show, written by Jon Favreau, is expected to cost around $100 million for 10 episodes. And then Favreau says that the new streaming service affords a wonderful opportunity to tell stories that stretch out over multiple chapters. So realistically, that's all they were discussing, is that it's supposed to cost $100 million for all of that Star Wars goodness. Or, well, it's Disney, so it's not goodness, but it's something. What's worse, Toby's face or Holdo's muff? Holdo's muff, because it's killed lots of men, especially in the battle of whatever the Last Jedi battle was called. Crate space. Let's see. Can we get that link, Jeff? Oh, you mean to this article from The Verge? Sure. Give me a moment to pull that up, and I can link you guys that in the chat. No problem. Yeah, I try to link in all the videos. There you go. There's the link yourself, guys. Check that out. So you can read it at great lengths. But yeah, that's what we know. I think it would have been much more interesting for Star Wars to start with this. The anticipation would have been a lot higher, and we wouldn't have had a year of actively being talked down to. I guess they just don't care about money. I swear, Disney has entered its second dark age past the year 2000, and we're still in it to this day. I see where you're coming from with that. Now, Disney's dark age was great in the when did this other one start? 70s and 80s, because Disney didn't have as much power as it does now. See, back then, during that Disney dark age, you had other companies coming out and producing the best content. Now Disney owns so much shit that even if their Disney proper is producing garbage, one of their subsidiaries is producing something that's a hit. Look at the MCU. The Last Jedi needed the Exxon Valdez. Could have saved them from Holdo. Not Holdo's muff, it's Leia's muff. Ugh. Well, she is a dead space lady, Splady, if you will. So it's a lot of dead space muff. A lot of dead space muff. Yeah, the MCU will be next on the chopping block. Guys, I understand those things, and it bothers me because I'm not a Marvel fanboy. I just like to have a good time at the movies, and I like to enjoy myself. And I've always enjoyed myself in the company of other Marvel fans at the MCU flicks. I don't want to see something I genuinely enjoy die off. That bothers me at the thought that at the service of Brie Larson and whatever other weird agenda Hollywood has, they're going to kill what is probably one of the most, and let's use their phrasing against them, one of the most inclusive universes ever. There are people from all races, genders and stuff like that like the MCU. It has something for everybody. If you want romance, you got romance. If you want drama, you got drama. Action, you got action. This space fantasy, subatomic fantasy, you got something for everybody, everywhere. They're going to change it for no reason. I don't advocate family entertainment because of the safety of it. What I like is like something like a Marvel is like the perfect family entertainment because mom and dad like it because it has so much going on. And then the kids like the spectacle, the superheroes, the most basic shit. And then you can sell those kids the action figures and you can do that stuff. And then guys like Dion and I and the rest of the podcast can sit and have deeper discussions about breaking down who's morally right, Captain America or Iron Man. There's so many things there. It's like the perfect franchise because it's housed within superheroes, but there are so many subgenres inside of that. And it pisses me off that that's what's going to be sacrificed for whatever weird ideology Hollywood's got going on behind the scenes. I don't like it. It pisses me off almost more than Star Wars because we haven't had bad MCU yet. We've had preachy MCU marketing with Black Panther, but the movie isn't the preachy garbage I expected. It was a little better off. It was heavy-handed at times, but overall, I was liking what they were putting down. Now it's going to get to a point. It's like if it was all Jessica Jones. Like, I hate that show. Season 1 was watchable because it had David Tennant. He was a charismatic villain. I liked it. Then you get season 2, and you want to talk about some preachy garbage. I don't care if you liked Iron Fist, you hated Iron Fist, you thought Luke Cage was preachy. Jessica Jones season 2 was one of the most offensive pieces of trash I've ever consumed. And I tried to watch it. I turned it off. Then my mom was like, I liked Jessica Jones. Let's watch it. So I said, you know what, Mom? Fine. We'll watch it for you because you don't know how to operate the PlayStation. So I'll put it on and I'll sit through it and I can talk about it for the show. That show lost me so early on with its heavy-handed garbage. That's what they want the MCU to be. They want bloggers and people on the internet to sit and verbally jerk these people off. Oh my God, the MCU did this. It's so progressive. It did this. It did that. But you know what? It's the shit that these bloggers don't cover or rip on that makes them billions of dollars that people come back and see in droves because they leave feeling good. They feel good about themselves. They feel good about life. You leave as a connected community. Like I said before, when I left the Avengers, we were all on that ride together. It wasn't just Joel and I sitting in the theater for the it would have been like 12 hours because we saw all the movies of Phase 1. It wasn't just us. It was all 250 of us on this journey together. And we all left seeing the Avengers and having just that moment of happiness. And, you know, even when you don't leave happy with Avengers Infinity War, you all were on this journey together and you're waiting for what's next. It's a feel-good moment. You leave happy, you leave fulfilled. whatever they're trying to do with modern entertainment, be it through Star Wars, the future of Marvel, the failed attempt over at DC, they're trying to change your happiness or take it away from you. Do you leave Batman versus Superman happy? No, you leave angry and confused because of what garbage you just sat through. You leave Star Wars The Last Jedi angry because they ruined Luke Skywalker. The story has nowhere to go. It makes no sense logically. And then with stuff that they're going to do down the road with Marvel, I think Marvel will have a bigger backlash because the MCU is new. It's only 10 years old. 10 years and a couple months, 10 years, 3 months. The people that have liked it since the beginning, once they catch on to what's happened in the change, well, the change and that backlash will be widely publicized because those people are very tech savvy. The people that love Star Wars that are pissed off are older, possibly. So there's a wider age range. So those people that are angry may not be as savvy on the internet. But if you piss off these Marvel people, these Marvel fans, they have access to Twitter. They know how to use this stuff. They've grown into it. I've grown into it. I've always understood how this stuff worked since the beginning. There will be more people to bitch online about it. But then you're going to get articles from these writers like your Scott Mendelsons and your douchey people over at the Mary Jane and IO9. They're going to antagonize, and then Marvel's going to lose money because Marvel and Disney and all these other studios play to the free publicity instead of the people that go and give you their money every 3 months to see these movies in the theaters. And that shit pisses me off beyond belief. I'm sorry that I ranted, but I care. I really do care about this stuff. I care about Star Wars. Star Wars is a battle that we're still fighting as a fandom menace, whatever you want to call us. It's something that people are genuinely passionate about. And every week there's some new shit that they're trying to pull, and we got to keep everyone aware of the trickery that's going on. And with Marvel, it will make me so sad to watch something that changed the world of entertainment for better or for worse, and watch it be ruined irreputably. So, Grendelfan84, thank you for your super chat. Waking Sleeping Beauty, great documentary about Disney Dark Age. Let me write that down because I like stuff about Disney's Dark Age. Waking Sleeping Beauty. Okay, I wrote that on the calendar. Grendelfan, thank you as always. Let's see who else popped up. We had quite a few things pop up between now and then. Kenneth LaRock. It's Amy with the most... Wait. It's Amy most, the cast of Back to the Future. It's Amy the most of the cast of Back to the Future. I don't know what you're trying to say exactly, Kenneth. It's Amy with the most of the cast of Back to the Future. If they try to do something with the cast of Back to the Future and make that soy-infused, soy latte McFly, I will probably cry genuine tears of sadness. Like, don't ever ruin Back to the Future, guys. Don't ever. Evernum says, Jessica Jones is fine. The supporting characters are very, very interesting place for season 3. Jessica Jones herself is the least of my problems with the show. I hate Patsy. Never has a character deserved to bite the bullet harder than Patsy fucking Walker. I can't stand the character. She is so bad. And not even, like, the actress is fine. She's not a bad act. She's not performing badly like Rose Tico, where she's just lame. But her actions have caused so many problems for the people around her that she needs to go. Much like I felt about Iron Man in Infinity War. When he got stabbed by Thanos, I was like, this is it. This is the moment I've waited for. And then he doesn't die. And I was like, fuck. But either way, Jessica Jones, I don't like at all. I can deal with the Luke Cage preachiness. Season 2 had some interesting moments. Iron Fist wasn't good. And Daredevil's been awesome the whole time. So I can't wait for that to come back. Ironically, mom and dad like it, and the kids like the spectacle and buy figures. That was Star Wars before Disney bought it. Yeah, it was. I think even more so, Marvel has an appeal to females than Star Wars did. I'm not saying all. Like, if you're a female listener and you love Star Wars, I'm not here to act like you don't exist, ever. But I knew a lot of girls in college that were like, Star Wars, ooh, but they liked Iron Man and Captain America and stuff like that. So I think, like, with let's use like a Dion and his wife Hillary type of thing. I think that would be an easier sell for them to go to a Marvel flick. They actually always make a family effort to go see the Marvel flicks, and she just is like, I don't care if I see the Star Wars movies, and she likes the older ones. So It was like that before Star Wars, but Marvel had a bigger approach too. I mean, you could even sell the Marvel movies on how attractive the cast is. It's a very vapid thing to do, but it works. A lot of people are talking about, okay, thank you, Trent. Jessica Jones season 2 sucked. So did Luke Cage. Oh man. Okay, cool. I'm glad a lot of people. Where is Jeff? Did I? Oh, why is okay? Here we go. Sorry. When I'm reading these chats, you got to understand I'm a little delayed sometimes, and it's hard to keep up. Oh, the Punisher series is good too. They did that right. They introduced him in Daredevil, established the show, and yeah, I liked the Punisher. I guess this is almost a bad thing to say. I like the Punisher so much that I forget it's associated with MCU on Netflix because it's so much better than the other shit. That and Daredevil are my favorite pieces of Marvel on TV live action. I don't like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't do Cloak and Dagger or The Runaways or any of that shit. Those aren't for me. I don't want to watch teeny bopper drama, but those are shows for other people, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, Punisher was awesome. I thought the show could have been even better had they let the Rogue Soldier storyline drag out a little longer. But what I loved about the Punisher was how gory and violent, and it was Punisher Max. It wasn't Mike Zeck early Punisher stuff. Well, he wasn't the earliest Punisher artist. My point is, there was that Punisher series from the 80s with Mike Zeck as the artist, not writer. Can't remember who wrote it. Maybe Grendel fan can tell me. But it was the very, very dark Punisher that I liked. I liked the whole thing. I want more. I'm wondering what they do next with him. They did drop the ball with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was so excited when that come out in 2013. So I'm living post Avengers. I'm still on that high. Did anything even come out after the Avengers in 2012? No, it went Avengers, Iron Man 3. It went Avengers, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., then Iron Man 3. And I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be good. No. I didn't do it at all. I didn't like it at all. I watched 3 episodes and no more. Network television just doesn't work for this kind of stuff. I don't even care about the commercial aspect. What I care about is the stories are too safe and samey and boring. How many times was that chick Sky or whatever gonna go off and do some shit and Agent Coulson's dead? When are we gonna just fucking tell us? 22 episodes per season really hurt the ability to tell a good, concise story. Grendelfan84, thank you for your very generous super chat. Let's see. The first 4 episodes of season 2 of Daredevil introduced the Punisher. Could have been a standalone film. That cemetery scene brings me to tears every time. I need to go back and rewatch that, Grendelfan, because with the Daredevil, well, actually with most of the Marvel shows, I watch them as soon as they come out. I'll binge through them, so I can talk about it on the show and be caught up. But Daredevil was 2 years ago, season 2, so I gotta get back to rewatch that. I did the Punisher. That was in November. I had just got this computer, so I watched that right away too. But yeah, Daredevil had some excellent stuff. The only thing I can remember off the top of my head from season 2 was the part where he was in the hospital with Claire, and they were coming to kill her, and he pushes her out of the window, and they zip line down on his billy club thing. I know other stuff happened. Oh, I remember the time where the Punisher was in the thrift shop, and he, we'll go from there. We won't talk about what happens there, but that was cool too. The pawn shop is what he was in. Cool stuff. I absolutely loved that show. I know this doesn't mean much to you guys, but I picked up the Daredevil and Punisher Marvel Legends figures because if I like something, I will get a piece of it, for the real world. I can watch it on TV or computer, but I can actually have a little figure to represent that I like it. That's how I represent my fandom, if you will. Yeah, I got to rewatch it though, Grendelfan. Thresher Mall, Iron Man threw his crap. Don't like it that much myself. Don't like it that much myself at all. Good morning, Commander Cody. Yes, time travel shouldn't exist in Star Wars. It's meant for Bill and Ted and Back to the Future. By the way, folks, I found out that my cousins have not seen Back to the Future, so I'm making it my personal journey to make sure that they see Back to the Future by the year's end. So make sure that you guys remind me to make sure my cousins have seen Back to the Future. They're 25 and 23, respectively. They still haven't seen that movie, so what the hell? Muff Devil. Tap and Die, welcome. You missed me going on a very long Marvel rant, but it was worth it in my opinion. I was happy. What the Sith is, I prefer tees over action figures. I like t-shirts as well. For me, though, I'm always going down in shirt sizes. So instead of me buying whatever my local store would have in, shirts, I just wait and I'll buy an action figure here or there. Plus, usually my figures get opened and put on a box. If I wear a shirt a bunch, the stuff starts to come off and get a hole in it. But I do represent in t-shirts. I got a couple Captain America shirts, a couple Avengers shirts. I have a Civil War t-shirt. That's pretty cool. And it's red. It's got all the Marvel characters fighting each other. I'm a fan. Used to do a lot of Spider-Man shirts too. I have that Spider-Man hoodie, the one that's this costume that you zip up and it's got like the eyes and shit on the hood. I think it's from the Amazing Spider-Man that was given to me as a gift, and I'm not really a fan of that suit, but you can't really take a gift from somebody and like tell them, oh, you bought me a gift, go fuck yourself. No, you gotta tell them thanks and be considerate and all that shit. So I've worn it twice. No. Timothy Riggs, thank you for your super chat. Good morning, Jeff. Back from Phoenix and happy to have good morning pop culture on my breakfast/first hour of work schedule. Well, thank you, Timothy Riggs, for remembering us after coming back from Phoenix. I hope you had a nice time. Talk about hot weather. It's been so hot here in Ohio. I thought I was going to pass out on Saturday. The humidity is just so high. And then it rained, and now it's... Ugh. But I think Phoenix is was it dry humidity or something like that? So it's a little different. But I'm glad you made it back, and I'm glad you're spending the morning with us. Glad everyone's here. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. What do I think about Hello Greedo? I don't know who Hello Greedo is. I don't really watch a lot of other YouTube content. Between doing this show and getting stuff ready for tonight, I'm not going to watch a lot of YouTube. I'll check out Midnight Cherry TV's video, trying to get the Indiegogo lined up just right so everyone can check that out. There's a lot of things going on with World Class Bullshitters. And I want to make sure I can get all those things done and keep up with the schedule. So, YouTube videos aren't my jam. What do I think about Spider-Man for PS4? Well, ever since I saw the video of Spider-Man in his classic costume fighting the Kingpin, I'm 100% on board because I don't like the new suit design, but I like what the game's trying to do, with the exception of Miles Morales and Martin Lee and the Daily Bread thing, because I read the books. Mr. Negative, interesting enough, but I don't know if it's interesting enough for a whole video game. Kind of with a Spider-Man game, you want the greatest hits because it's a video game. It's not meant to be... You want that kind of storytelling, read a book. You want action and excitement, play a game. And that's what I think. The original suit, I'll play it. I'll maybe go out and get the game at launch. Hey, maybe I should Twitch. Well, can you Twitch stream the game? I know they cut out streaming when the storyline stuff plays out. I don't know. Maybe we'll work a way around it. We can find a way to stream Spider-Man if enough people are interested. Phoenix was actually humid. They're starting their monsoon season. It was like 105 all week, even at night. Ugh. No, thank you. I'm glad I have air conditioning. That's all I can say. Nathaniel Rourke, you got a lot of work. I do, but I like it. I know it sounds odd to say I'm thankful to have all this work to do, but I am. It means we got all kinds of shit to entertain you guys with. And I got some editing to do for Patreon, but again, I'm not complaining. It's just a long time. Yeah, Blade should have got the show over Luke Cage. I agree, but it also should have been Wesley Snipes coming back to play Blade. We don't need a younger, sexier version of Blade. Blade can be an old man. Wolverine can be an old guy. Blade can be an old guy. Iron Man can be an older guy. Marvel's not afraid to have, 30, 40, 100-year-old superheroes. Captain America's 100. Yeah, he's played by a 30-something-year-old guy, but still. You see, DC is falling into that trap of everyone's got to be young and fresh-faced. So they tried something different with Batman, but they only did that because Zack Snyder read one comic, The Dark Knight Returns. It wasn't about, an homage to all Batman. Brandon Moyes, will you need writers when you get the World Class Bullshitters website up? Maybe. I don't know if we're going to be posting editorials like, geeksandgamers.com. But our website's going to feature content, the World Class Bullshitter store, all kinds of stuff. Because I know people have asked me, when can I get a Good Morning Pop Culture mug? When can I get a Working and Lurking mug? Trust me, you guys will have access to all that sooner than you think. And once I get, like, I've designed stuff, like we have a new logo. If you're over on our Facebook page, I updated the design. I kept the 4 main guys on the thing, and I kept the Grand Theft Auto aesthetic, but I infused a little bit of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game. That's what our theme was. Because if you've played that, remember the 4-player selection screen? And I'm blue because I'm the leader, Leonardo. Dion's Michelangelo, he's a party dude. Nick's Donatello because he does machines. And Kendo is cool but rude, so he's Raphael. So basically, the Ninja Turtles really do fit into our personalities. No Filter, welcome back. I said my little piece on Batista leaving if James Gunn is not rehired. I think Batista will be fine. He has a lot of money. He was a wrestler, a big star in the WWE, and he'll be okay. He'll be completely fine. If you get a chance to go back and listen to the replay of this, I kind of went into a little more detail about Batista. But overall, I think he'll be fine. And he stands by what he believes in. So there's that. And I don't really want to get too much into the politics of the James Gunn thing. We'll find out more. We can cover more on the High Council and on World Class Bullshitters, because I think it would make a more interesting show for you guys to hear multiple ideas on that subject. So No Filter, thank you. And I will remind me later and we'll bring it up again. By The Witcher. A lot of people are talking about that. I should. While I like paychecks, I'm left wondering why Gotham got renewed. Maybe their streaming service. By the way, DC streaming service, if you pre-order it, you get 3 free months. I don't know if I want to commit to all that stuff. One thing I do want out of their streamers is access to their store, because they have these exclusive Justice League animated series figures. And I've already collected the Batman the Animated Series, Joker, Batman Expressions Pack, and then Superman and Lois Lane, and a couple other characters. So I kind of would like to have access just for those. I would have loved a good Halo movie or TV show, but because of modern Hollywood, I don't think it's a good idea now. I agree 100%, Pete. I liked the idea of a Halo show 10 years ago. It would have been right after Halo 3 had come out in 2007. There would have been that hype. The reason I don't like it now, besides the modern Hollywood stuff, is that I don't like when they take the main character out of focus for the show. It should always be the main character is the focus. I don't want the other soldiers. I don't really care about a Cortana episode. I just want Master Chief in action and build up it's war. It's fucking war. Show that. Don't go and try to do other stuff. Now, Gears of War could have been awesome too as a TV show or movie, but they would have had to have, and I don't want to sound mean, but like Anya would have had to be on the team. If you're going to introduce her, you introduce her later down the road. You focus on the brotherhood of Marcus, Dom, Cole, and Bayard. You don't worry about Anya back at the base. You don't need to have some love story. You don't need to have some bullshit. You just focus on Marcus Phoenix being released from jail and his redemption, Bayard being a bitch, Coltrane, how he used to be this slam ball player, and then Dom's looking for his wife, and that story arc. That was a really powerful story arc. That could have been played out much better. So with modern Hollywood and the way they produce stuff now, and people that they're afraid of on the internet, it would be, they would worry about, we got to have diversity on these shows. It's like, look, we want adaptations of what exists. Millions of people like the games. We don't care what color these people are. Hell, in Halo, you can have aliens and shit, but just don't push too much modern shit. I need to get a retro pod. That'd be a lot of fun. You guys need to work on a High Council and or World Class Bullshitters set of action figures. My God, I'd love that. That is one of my goals in life, is to have an action figure based off me. That'd be fucking cool. Maybe once 3D printing gets more affordable, I'll work on it. We got Adam West in an animated DC movie. Why not Keaton or Bale? Why not? Did you guys know there was a Batman 89 comic book series proposed to DC, but they realized that the licensing for all the actors' likenesses was too expensive, so they canned it? There's art online for it. It's really a cool concept, but we never will see it because of the money behind it. What are my opinions of the new DC figures? Well, Depends on which DC figures you're talking about. Are you talking about the DC Direct figures, or are you talking about the stuff that Mattel puts out, like the DC Universe figures that you would see in your local stores? I'll give you an answer of both real quick. The DC Universe figures are nice. You sometimes get exclusive versions, like they had the Dark Knight Returns collection, which had Batman, Superman, Robin, Batman in armor, and the Son of Batman character, the acolyte, if you will. That was cool. It's nice to see sculpts and stuff based on specific artist designs. It does some stuff I wish Marvel would do. Now, the figures are of pretty comparable construction. They're decent looking. The paint's good. They're almost as good as a previous gen Marvel Legends figure. Now, right now, Marvel Legends is kicking ass. If you're a collector, you know that Marvel Studios 10-year collection is hard to find, and it's worth the money. People are going nuts for that shit. The 2-packs, the 3-packs. They're demanding top dollar for these figures, but for a basic Hasbro release, for as much as I talk about Hasbro fucking up with Star Wars, they're not really fucking up with Marvel. And now the DC Collectibles line from DC Direct, I love the stuff based on the animated series, and you get a lot of selection, you get a lot of cool stuff. So DC's doing some decent stuff. It's just not getting the exposure because it's not sold at your local retail store. Who the hell has that much time to watch of content in 3 free months? It's got to be a ton of episodes with several seasons at least. Well, Cadmium Red, I think what it is, you have to pre-order the entire year, so you'll get 15 months for the price of 12. So for $80 or $70, you get 15 months of content. I think that's what they mean. What are my favorite action figures, present or childhood toys? My Batman the Animated Series figure, Combat Belt Batman, one of my all-time favorite toys. One of my action figures of The Rock, that's a favorite toy of mine. The original Power Rangers. More recent stuff, Hot Toys 89 Batman as a collector's item. Like if there was a fire, I'm saving that thing. What else? I'm looking at the collection right now. I love my Sideshow Indiana Jones. Chip Hazard's a cool toy. The Megazords are always great. That Soul of Chikogan Megazord. That's a bad boy right there. It's still in the box. So those are my favorite things. Timothy Riggs, thank you very much for your super chat. It's not diversity that angers most people. It's smug fuckers in California that want to virtue signal and will sacrifice anything to feel superior. That's a very good point. Yeah, I don't mind if they put, see, the thing is, I don't mind an all-black cast or this or that or gay characters. I don't mind that stuff. It's when I'm constantly being told about it and being talked down to by the people that maybe represent the media. Like if you threw out Black Panther and the media didn't try to make it out to be this, big event for black superheroes, I think more people did go see it, but I think more people wouldn't have been angered about it. And the movie's fine itself. But yeah, I just don't like the people that are out there in the streets promoting this shit. Never once have I ever said this, is too diverse for my liking. It's just the people that talk about it piss me off. But yeah, they do want to feel superior, and it pisses me off. Dio Brando says Doomcock got an MK $1,200 super chat yesterday. Cool, good for Doomcock. I wish that dude the best of luck. I will always love to have Doomcock on the show to help him support his channel, and grow it. So good for him. I'm very happy for him. That's all I can say. Who is my favorite villain? My favorite villain of all? Kathleen Kennedy. No. The Joker is a great comic book villain. He really is the best. I like the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus. Let's see. Who's some Bond villains I like? Trevelyan 006 is a great villain. Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is an excellent villain. Vince McMahon is an excellent villain. Hans Gruber, probably the best cinematic villain of all time, in my opinion. If you said who's the best, I'll go Hans Gruber and then Nurse Ratched. Those two. Hans Gruber's so fun and lovable, but he is a bad guy. And then Nurse Ratched is just pisses me off type of bad. So I love those characters. You got to get the new DC Direct animated deluxe Batmobile after the Hot Toys Armor 3-pack. God damn it, Trent. I don't have the space for a 4-foot Batmobile in this office. When I move, sure, you guys can recommend shit and we'll do reviews on the channel. But until then, I got like the Lego 007 Aston Martin in the box because I have nowhere to put it. So thank you, Trent. Let's see, Jeff, man, you would not believe how many movies I see in your chats that are from Warhammer 40k lore. You should link up with 40k lore channel or sci-fi talk sometime. You know, I was actually thinking about doing more science fiction stuff because there was a lot of love during the EU debate. By the way, I have Wednesday night open for a stream here on the channel. Would we like to see the return of the EU discussion, or would we like to see more of the fan films from Army Vet Rod? Let me know through email or down here what you would like to see for Wednesday night stream. Because another thing too, I had a couple messages like, what are we doing on Friday? What are we doing on Friday? And I thought to myself, if you guys are asking what we're going to do on Friday, it means that people out there like what we do at night on the stream. So I'm thinking of making Fridays another stream. So I'll be throwing out ideas this week. You guys can throw ideas at me, but Wednesday night we'll do some kind of stream together. And then Friday night we'll do something. It can be a movie. It can be a discussion. Let me know what you guys are interested in. And I'd love to do something on Friday night for fun. Maybe we'll even pick it up on Saturday. Who knows? Maybe we'll do more stuff. Who knows what we're going to do? But Wednesday, we have the ideas open. Okay, oh God. Okay, EU. Fan films. We already talked about Troopers. Okay, if you're fine, it looks like just based on this, there's a lot of EU talk. Dylan Lewis, if this is your first World Class Bullshitter stream, welcome. You've missed quite a bit this morning, but fear not. There are a lot of World Class Bullshitters live streams coming at you in the future, like tomorrow morning. So don't let this be your last. But you missed a lot, so I do suggest you go back and check out the archived version of this in about an hour whenever it finishes rendering. Okay, so it looks like lots of EU. Mad Max 2 watch stream. Okay, so I did have an outline for the EU discussion last week, but you know how it gets. People get on here, they start throwing ideas back and forth. Okay, it looks like an EU thing. So if you're an EU expert, or you've at least read a handful of books that you can contribute to the discussion, email us, worldclassbs@mail.com, and I'll make that happen again this weekend. I need volunteers to come back. If you were here last time, awesome. If you weren't able to make it and you really want to be on, I will just let me know what you've read and your experience, and I will get another group of people back on the channel, and we can make that happen. You guys can chime in with your opinions and questions and all that stuff too, because it's a community effort. So fine, that it looks like that's what a lot of people want. EU. Let's see, American Trent watch party on Friday for American Psycho. Let me see what the other bullshitters are doing, Trent, and I can make it happen on Friday for sure. I'll see if Kendo and Nick are available. If we have to do it a little later, I'm sure you wouldn't care, but I will ask those guys. So just email us 100% worldclassbs@mail.com. Put EU discussion in the subject line, and I'll be getting back to you guys. Well, today, because it's tomorrow is the stream, and we'll make that happen. Nobody likes the European Union. I should get Matt Wilkins, a fellow YouTuber, on. He is the biggest EU enthusiast I've ever come across on YouTube. Okay, let me write his name down. Matt Wilkins. EU talk. Does he have a channel called Matt Wilkins? Because if that's his channel name, I'll look him up. If you guys want to link me to his YouTube channel over on our Facebook page, I'd love to do that, and we can make something happen. Timothy's on the show? I wish. I'd love to get Timothy on the show, but I guarantee you, people at Lucasfilm are told never appear on World Class Bullshitters. Guarantee it. Who is the best YouTube villain? YouTube themselves. Lots of Warhammer talk. Lots of Warhammer talk. I don't know what it is, but if you guys can link me to some channels, maybe we could have a Star Wars versus 40 Hammer or Warhammer 40K discussion, says Timothy Riggs. We can do that. The EU talk will not be as long as it was last week. We'll try to discuss a few things. Maybe we'll talk about EU stuff based around the original trilogy. And then we can come back with one on the prequel trilogy. That way, we can keep it focused. So yeah, that's what we'll do. We're going to do EU discussion topics based on the original trilogy. So if you have knowledge of that stuff, spanning from Splinter of the Mind's Eye till whatever Disney threw out the window, please let me know. Jeff, have you read the Star Wars Infinite comics? Yes, I have read all the Star Wars Infinite comics. There we go. There's something that I can talk about. I love the Star Wars Infinite comics, especially the one based on A New Hope, like you said, where they fail to destroy the Death Star. I also like the Return of the Jedi one, where Han's perpetually blind and Vader gets the white armor. Those are cool stories. I've read those. I like those. I like what ifs. That's the kind of shit that they could get my money from. If they're like more what if scenarios or crazy stuff like that. Not Dr. Aphra and Darth Vader taking down 1,000 people and Boba Fett popping up early. No, just cool, crazy stories that work within the confines of the movie. So, let's see. Arc is the best for Warhammer lore. I don't even know what the hell Warhammer is besides this little figurine, so I guess I'll have to look into it more. But is everyone cool with the EU stuff? We could have some fun tomorrow night. Doesn't have to be too long, and we can do a part 2 later on. So if I get enough, it'll happen if enough people email me by today so I can announce it officially on tomorrow's show. So if you're even interested in the idea, it'll be tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on World Class Bullshitter. So make sure that you guys email me before that. GrendleFan84, thank you for your super chat. If anyone wants any Star Wars signed stuff, Dave Dorman, Star Wars comic book artist, will be at the Boston Fan Expo this weekend. Contact our site and we will do our best. And that site is Comics Elite. Now, Dave Dorman, GrendleFan, is an artist that I follow on Facebook, and he posts all kinds of cool like painting videos. Because guys, I'm going to show you who Dave Dorman is. He is one of well, that's the wrong tab to open up. Dave Dorman has done some of the coolest Star stuff back in the day. Even to this day, he still does a lot of cool Star Wars stuff. So let's see. Dave Dorman Star Wars is the first thing that pops up. So I know that you guys have seen his art. I'm going to pull up a couple things so you guys can check it out. It's probably like Ralph McQuarrie art, maybe Dave Dorman art next. It's just beautiful stuff. Let me just get big enough images of these things. There we go. Now, here's the first piece of Dave Dorman artwork you guys can check out. You won't regret it. It'll get you excited for some Star Wars. Because we need that. And here we go. Boom. So that's cool. That's Dave Dorman, the artist, right there. You can see his name in the bottom left hand of the screen. So I know you've seen posters by Dave Dorman. He's up there. There's one other artist that did the covers. What was his name? He did a lot of them too. They were very good as well. But I like the realism in Star Wars because this to me is how you continue the EU cover should look like the actors. It gets you in the mindset. It's a continuation. I don't think what Han Solo looks like should be open to interpretation. It's Harrison Ford. You can change up his clothes. You can give him different colored jackets and vests and pants. But, I don't like artistic interpretations. Vader's Vader. Stormtroopers are stormtroopers. And Dave Dorman gives you a very realized version of the Star Wars world. And it's really great looking artwork, if you ask me. Timothy Riggs, you did miss the comic book art segment. We pulled up some Rob Liefeld stuff. So, let's see. The stormtroopers don't look useless here because they're not. When they're not fighting Han, Luke, and Leia, they're very effective. They're very, very effective. Would I ever want to do a Walking Dead discussion? We could do that closer to Halloween. I'm down for that. I mean, it's not going to be the most loving discussion of the TV show. Now, the comic book would be a little more positive if you're looking for like some world-class bullshitters love towards zombie stuff. The comic book was great. I know a lot of people haven't read it, they just know the show. But I did the first 100 issues. I was very excited. Once Glenn bit the bullet, or the hammer, or the bat, if you will, from Negan, then I was like, you know what? This is my favorite character. I'm done. He's dead. Cobra Viper, thank you for your super chat. Dave Dorman also did a lot of G.I. Joe. I own a few pieces. Breathtaking. His Star Wars is epic. Yeah, it is very epic. So if you guys are, looking to get something signed from the man himself, Comics Elite, you know how to contact him. Grendel fans here in the chat, and he can give you all the information. I think this is a good image to close the show out on. Look at the might of the Empire. They're not a joke. They're not being taken down by a bunch of Ewoks with trees. They're defeating. Vader's deflecting bolts with his hand. He's got the Royal Guards, the Stormtroopers, the Sand Troopers, even got some Imperial officers by the walkers themselves. This is cool. You put this on a poster, people buy this. You put this on a DVD, people are interested. It's a problem with Disney Star Wars is everything is a Photoshop cut and paste job. It's not a bunch of there's no artistic integrity. There's no labor of love. There aren't as many man hours put into that stuff. It's an intern taking photos of Daisy Ridley and Mark Hamill in stupid costumes and laying them out. And then here's this plate that we did for the CGI rendering. Boom, that's your box art for The Last Jedi. Very boring box art. The original trilogy DVD set, Blu-ray set, the DVD set has really great art on the outer sleeve. The interior stuff, not so much. Blu-ray has some original stuff that's a lot of fun to look at. So, it's really cool. So check out Dave Dorman's stuff. So, yeah, have I ever seen World War II? Yeah, I have seen those, Dylan. I have checked those out. I used to do a lot of horror prints, so I would look for inspiration, and I've seen a lot of cool throwback propaganda World War II posters. I'm thinking about doing one of those as a World-Class Bullshitters t-shirt. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about for the website. So, Brandon Moist. There we go. Thank you, Brandon Moist. Diehard Walking Dead comic fan. Show lost me at season 7 halfway through. Well, Brandon Moist, you know how to contact us on Twitter. How about you join the show for our Walking Dead discussion? I feel like it would be a nice way for everyone to learn about the Moist, because you have altered the course of this show with your moistness. You're the only fan to have an episode named after them. So thank you for ruining our night that Thursday. But all joking aside, Brandon Moist, contact me, and I'd like to get some Walking Dead experts on here, and we could have a lot of fun. We could talk about the introduction to the comic book. Were you aware of it? All kinds of stuff. We're an entertainment channel. Yeah, we talk about Star Wars and Marvel. Love that shit to death. Never going to change what I love. But we can cover all kinds of things. So thank you. One for Moist on Air says Sketch Therapy. Sketch Therapy, I'm going to message you over on Patreon so I can get a couple things worked out with you about your fan film part 2. I'd like to get that done before I go to Horror Hound, so people can check that out and come meet us and stuff like that. So, you know what's up, man. I'll be contacting you in a little bit. The email is worldclassbs@mail.com. Let me write that in the chat, and I'll close this episode out with that. So, that is our email. You guys have access to that, and it's an easy enough to remember email address. Yakosei, thank you very much. It's Thrashball, baby. Woo! I did make a mistake about the Coltrane earlier, but God, I love the Coltrane so much. So you hear that music? It's time to put this baby to bed. Well, it's the morning, so I'm not going to go to bed per se. But thank you to everyone who stuck with us for this morning's Good Morning Pop Culture. It was a huge success. We had tons of viewers, great topics of discussion. I was low on coffee, so I was a little woozy, but thank you to everyone who understood what I was going out with. Yes, I love Star Wars Episode 5. The Empire Strikes Back is a great film. One more hour. I don't know if I could pull one more hour. I got to get our next video together. I got a couple things to work on. So thank you to everyone who's with us every morning, and I'll be back tonight on the High Council, which is over on Ethan Van Sciver's channel. Thank you, and have a good one.